Well. Hello everybody, welcome back to the cooking show, welcome back to the cooking stream. I hope you've all been having an incredible Wednesday. If you're watching this live, it is currently March 20th, 5 p.m. EST. Hello. It's good to see all of you. Welcome on in. Hello to Gush Limpa. Hello to Trash Can Cat Mom. Hello to Man on the Net. Hello to Darby Doll. Hello to Iliam. Hello to Dosky. Hello to Nella Atano. Hello to Kishma9. Hello. Welcome. It's good to see all of you guys. I missed you all so much. Also, hello to Emma Ken. Can't forget about you, of course. Hi. So, I'm pretty excited about today's stream. Today is going to be a good stream. It is Wednesday. Everybody, we will be back to a fairly normal cooking stream schedule. Also, hello to Death Owl. Hello. We'll be back to a fairly normal cooking stream schedule. So, we're going to be doing Wednesdays. We're going to be doing Fridays. We're going to be doing Sundays. 5 p.m. EST. Hello to Skrublo as well. Welcome on in. I hope you've all been having an excellent Wednesday today. I finally am calming down a little bit. I'm getting adjusted into my workflow. I'm getting adjusted into everything. And so I am doing a lot better. I don't have a headache today. I have enough sleep. I am fully rested. I'm going to turn on my AC as well, guys. So I'm feeling really good. EDT, EST, I don't know the difference, okay? Also, hello to Zirtag Lasvi. Hello, welcome on in. And hello to Dazed and Daydreams. Hello to Goober and hello to Andogard. So, everybody, it's good to see all of you. Today we're going to be doing another baked pasta dish. So we've done baked pasta a couple times on the stream, and the last time that I did it, I was really impressed with my end result. And so I want to keep on experimenting. I want to keep on doing different baked pasta dishes. So today, my inspiration comes from what? There is an Egyptian dish, which is essentially bechamel macaroni alla bechamel, or something. There's an Egyptian dish, which is essentially macaroni baked alongside a bechamel. It's like an Egyptian baked mac and cheese. And then I'm also taking inspiration from like a baked rigatoni, a baked ziti. And then I'm also taking some inspiration today from a creamed spinach. And so the dish that I'm doing today is the intersection of all three. The Egyptian, macaroni bechamel. We're also doing the creamed spinach and like a baked ziti all in one dish today. So guys, everything today starts with, of course, a big bundle of spinach. I have a bunch of fresh spinach. Guys, this isn't baby spinach. This is adult spinach. So what's the difference? Baby spinach typically comes in a box and it typically comes pre-washed, and it costs twice as much as a fresh bundle of adult spinach that you're gonna have to wash yourself. Guys, the thing that I want all of you to get into the habit of doing, if it is possible, please do not buy the plastic boxes of greens. Do not buy the plastic boxes of lettuce. Don't buy the plastic boxes of spinach. They oftentimes cost twice as much, and I know they come in pre-washed, but washing it yourself and doing it yourself, it is so much cheaper. And box spinach, it tends to be a little bit wilted. It tends to be a little bit brown inside of the box itself. And so when that happens, like when it's enclosed in such a humid environment with no air circulation, it doesn't actually stay fresh for very long. So guys, buy your spinach, buy your leaves loose. I want to hear a nice yes, chef, from everybody watching, please and thank you. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting on you to do it. Okay, so spinach. We're going to be doing the spinach basically almost like a creamed spinach. We're going to be blending it into the sauce. And then we're also going to be doing some sauteed spinach at the end. Then let's talk about the pasta for today. Guys, I have a box of rigatoni, but you can use basically whatever pasta that you like baking with. You can use macaroni, you can use ziti, you can use penne rigate. Basically anything that's like not a long noodle, right? Anything that's like on the shorter end, anything that has like a lot of texture. The beauty of a rigatoni is that it has like the texture on the outside, so that's able to catch the sauce, and it has the hole inside that's able to catch the sauce. But basically any kind of pasta is gonna be great, and we're going to be doing the Serious Eat soaking method, which is essentially where we take the pasta and we submerge it in hot water instead of pre-boiling it. And that makes our lives so much easier than needing to, actually boil the pasta for something like this. So we're gonna be doing a hot pasta soak. Okay, let's talk about some of my other ingredients. Guys, I have some Chinese chive here. Why do I have Chinese chive? Because I want to use it up. Chinese chive has a beautiful allium flavor, and I think baked into the actual pasta itself, it's going to be really delicious. Additionally, we'll be sauteing some with a separate side dish because we're doing some sauteed spinach and sausage and some sauteed, Chinese chive. So is this traditional? No, but I am just currently, I dropped one. I'm currently in the middle of exploring all the different ways that I want to use this vegetable. This is a vegetable that's really new for me. I haven't worked with Chinese chive a lot. I've only used it twice. And so it's something I want to get a lot more comfortable with. Okay? And so the Chinese chive is going to be included. Then We have some chilies. The chilies are going to be for the sauteed greens and sausage. We have some lemon for the acidity. And then we also have some garlic for the garlic. I don't think I have to explain the function of garlic. Okay, what else do we have going on behind me? I have some herbs. Oh, I want to also show off the vessel that I'll be baking the pasta in. Guys, these are my USSR clay pots that I think my grandma brought over. And so these are my favorite tool to basically, do all sorts of like baked pasta dishes in. But you could use just any like ceramic baking tray, like any like ceramic, pan. That would also be really nice, like a nice big ramekin. But I'm using like these really nice terracotta pots. And so I'll be walking you through how to use these. Okay, and so that's the gist of the important ingredients. Additionally, we have some Parmesan. I don't have any Parmigiano Reggiano. I just have like, trashy like American Parmesan. It's still gonna be fine. It's still gonna be delicious. The difference is American Parmesan, it tends to be a lot more moist. So it's not aged nearly as long. It's plastic aged, right? And it's not aged nearly as long as Parmigiano Reggiano. And as a result, it's not as intense. It doesn't have as much oomph to it. It's a lot more moist and a lot more soft of a cheese. And then I also have some provolone sitting in the fridge. And so guys, we have a lot that we need to get done. We have to blanch the spinach. We have to shock the spinach. We have to make a bechamel for today as well, which is going to be a thickened milk sauce, a bechamel or gravy, or, it is the basic sauce of so many different cuisines. We have to soak the pasta. We have to bake it. We have to make the sauteed greens. Guys, we have a lot to get done today. Is everybody ready? I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, from everybody watching. Please and thank you. And by the way, for those of you that haven't already done so, please check out my Patreon. You can type in !Patreon in the chat. You can also scroll down to the About section. Guys, the Patreon is a very nice way if you want to support the stream. If you want to support what we're doing here, the Patreon is a very nice way to directly support me. I would love to be able to do this full time one day. And so I want to continue to keep the stream free for everybody to watch. I want everybody to be able to watch this for free. And so if you have any extra pocket change, the Patreon would go a really long way. Okay. So guys, we need to begin with blanching the spinach. So let's quickly go on over to the stove. So guys, on the stove at the moment, I have, I didn't actually zoom this in as much as I should have. My apologies. Okay, I think that should now be okay. So guys, we're going to be doing a blanched spinach today. And we're going to talk about what even is blanching to begin with. So I have a big pot of water. It's boiling away. Okay, we can go ahead and just take off this lid now. So what is blanching? Guys, blanching is a culinary term that refers to plunging something into boiling water. And so let's talk about the function of this really, really quickly. The challenge with using spinach is that you can take a look and you can see how much volume this thing has. This is one bundle of spinach, but it has so much volume. And the issue with it, the issue with this kind of spinach is if you wanted to chop it, if you wanted to put it into something, it's all going to immediately wilt. The beauty of blanching it for just a couple of seconds into boiling water is that we're able to get rid of a lot of that volume. We get rid of a lot of that volume, and then we have a much more manageable size that we're then able to chop up or blend. If you were to just theoretically blend the spinach as it is, here's what happens. You crush it, you release the chlorophyll, and the spinach actually oxidizes. By first blanching it into boiling water, you, I believe something about denaturing the enzymes. I'm not entirely sure on how that functions, but you're stopping it from oxidizing when we are to process it or blend it up. Okay, and then we're also getting it down to a much more manageable size. But so, here's the thing that you have to look out for. You do not want to overboil this. If you overboil this, what ends up happening is that all of its nutrients, all of the flavor, will just instead dissolve into the water itself. So all we really need to do is plunge it into that boiling water for just a few seconds. So the first thing I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to set up an ice bath. Okay, and an ice bath allows us to then quickly plunge the spinach into some cold water and stop it from overcooking. Because if we overcook the spinach, we lose a lot of flavor and we end up losing a lot of texture. I have these massive ice cubes, which are probably a little bit impractical, but I think these will do just fine. So I'm gonna grab 2 of these nice big ice cubes. Okay, and come on, buddy, out you go. Thank you very much. Massive, aren't they? Those are ice blocks. Indeed. So a couple of ice blocks. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the ice away in the freezer. So please give me a second, guys. why did my freezer light just go out? Uh-oh. What's going on? Okay, there it is. I don't think I shut off my freezer properly. Okay, couple of ice blocks, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill this bowl with some nice cold water. So again, guys, our goal is to blanch the spinach. We're going to plunge it into boiling water for just a few seconds. We're going to lose a lot of volume. And then what's going to happen is we're going to shock it in the ice cold water to stop it from continuing to cook. Does anybody have any questions about this process so far? But let's talk about the tool of choice that I'm going to use for this. Guys, we're going to be using one of my favorite tools. This is called a spider. If you don't have a spider, you should absolutely invest in one. A spider is basically a strainer on a stick, and this way we'll be able to really, really easily scoop up the spinach out of the boiling water. This is a tool that only people recently have started to keep in their home setting. It's typically used a lot in Chinese cooking, a lot in Japanese cooking, a lot in restaurant cooking, and it's only quite recent that I see home cooks start to own one of these. Spiders are hard to clean. They have a lot of holes, but they're very useful, and nothing wrong with a few holes. So, make sure that your spider is nice and ready to go, guys. Okay, and all I'm going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this in batches. I'm going to take a nice, big, generous handful of spinach, and then I'm going to make sure that all of it is nice and submerged. And guys, this is only going to need like 10 seconds or so, because all we're really looking to do is quickly wilt the spinach, right? You're going to see that the spinach immediately in that boiling water is going to shrink up. It's going to lose the majority of its volume. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now we can go ahead and just scoop all of it out, guys, before the water begins to turn green. You do not want to overcook the spinach. And because that spinach is still hot and it holds a lot of that boiling water, that's why we plunge it into the ice bath to stop it from continuing to cook. But that is all of the time that you need to actually blanch and shock your spinach. Does everybody understand? Can I please get a yes, chef? Please and thank you. Let's go ahead and get this water back on up to a boil. It's just going to take one moment. Let's go ahead and help it out with a lid. But guys, as you can see, my water still looks fairly crystal clear. You would have known if you overcooked it, if the water started to turn green. If the water starts to turn green, you've overcooked the spinach and it's lost a lot of its flavor and nutritional value into the water itself. The timing is key for a blanch, okay? Good. I'm glad so many of you are showing up today. I'm glad we're getting so many different yes chefs. Let's go ahead and pop a lid on it. And in the meantime, I want to just show off. I want to show you this sheer difference in volume. We do need a yes chef emote. I'm going to work on it soon. Don't you worry. Guys, take a look at the volume of the spinach that we have. That massive bundle of spinach became roughly this much. And now, because of the fact that we lost all that volume, this is going to be a lot easier to chop up, to blend, to do whatever it is that we actually want to do with it. Okay? And we're just keeping it cooling off in the nice little ice bath just to make sure that it does not overcook. Okay? So, just gonna go wash off my hands from the spinach water. But guys, this makes it so much easier. This makes it so much easier to actually work with spinach. The thing that I hate most, I hate seeing people take spinach on a cutting board and like start to chop it when it's raw. When it's raw and you try to chop it, guys, it is such a headache because it is just all over the cutting board. It takes up so much space. So anytime you're cooking with spinach, I always recommend blanching it. Okay, guys, we're going to do this in 2 more batches in total. So let's go ahead and get this one on inside. There you go. And now, maximum of 20 seconds, guys. Ready? So 1, 2, 3, 4. I know I'm counting quite fast. 5. It only needs like 10 seconds, really. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I'm going to start scooping now, right? Because it's still carrying the hot water with it. Get as much of that hot water out as you reasonably can, and into the ice bath, all of it goes. Nice and easy. And now, guys, we have one last batch of spinach to actually get done here. Who discovered this technique? I mean, it was probably discovered by a chef in terms of just like, hey, this is a lot easier to work with if we first blanch it and it loses its volume. I mean, people have been doing this as long as they've been cooking with spinach, right? Not in terms of actually losing nutritional value. That wasn't particularly a consideration. But in terms of actual function and making it easier to work with. So guys, last batch of spinach going inside, last few leaves. Let's plunge it on in. Okay, and then this really only needs 15 seconds, I've figured out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay? And that's all that the spinach is going to need, guys. Let's go ahead and take it out one last time. Thank you so much for your patience with me for this process. We just wanted to go ahead and get that done. Does anybody have any questions about this process or why we're doing it or why I think this is important for us to do? This is a bit of a chefy technique, right? Like blanching the spinach. Not everybody always does this at home, but it is something that I really want to encourage all of you to get into the habit of. So our water will inevitably always turn a little bit green, but you know you would have messed up if it turns like a dark green or anything. That's how you know you would have overcooked your spinach. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a lid back on this bad boy. We have no more use for it. Ooh, that is a hot pot. I have absolutely singed my fingertips. Ow. That was very unpleasant, guys. Don't recommend, do not recommend doing that. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and just take this pot of water off the stove because we're going to need that burner in a second. Okay, I left a leaf. That's okay. We'll figure them out later on. Okay, great. So guys, that was the spinach. That was all the prep that we needed to do for it, and now we'll be able to easily throw it into whatever it is that we're actually going to do with it. So the spinach is going to be used in 3 separate ways. I just have to adjust my camera really quickly. 1 second, everybody. The spinach today is going to be used in 3 separate ways. We're going to be blending some in and basically making like a creamed spinach sauce. Then we will also be using some leaves as well into the baked pasta because I want to have that contrast. I want to be able to like bite into like a nicely cooked spinach leaf, but then I still want some of it to just infuse into the cream. And then we're going to be using some of the spinach for the actual sauteed greens and sausage today. Okay, so all the spinach is done. I'm going to go ahead and show you that one more time, guys. Oh, that's the wrong shot. I wanted to go ahead and show you my cutting board, excuse me. Right, here's all of my nicely and beautifully blanched spinach. We shocked it in cold water. It didn't overcook. And now we're just going to cool this off, and then we're going to be using this later on today. Okay? And guys, look, all of that spinach, it just became one little teeny tiny bundle just like this. If you cooked it longer, it'd probably be an even smaller bundle. So that entire massive, massive bowl of spinach, look at what we've gotten out of it. Okay? But we didn't overcook it. Really, really nice. Yes, and it does mean we can also go straight to the blender. That is also the beauty of it. Good thinking, Death Owl. Right? Because we're using an enclosed blender. They don't have something like a Vitamix with an open top that would otherwise build up too much pressure. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this behind us because we no longer need this at the moment. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and start talking about the pasta. Let me talk to you about my theory. Let me talk to you about the methodology of this. We're going to be doing something that might be perceived as sacrilegious. Also, hello, stupid blobfish. Welcome on in. Good luck with the exams. So, we're going to be doing something that to many people might seem a little sacrilegious, but I'm going to explain my reasoning. I'm going to be explaining what I'm doing. We're going to be soaking the pasta with hot water. We're not going to be, doing the traditional way, which is you take the pasta and then you boil it first, and then you strain it off, and then you put some oil in it, and then you make a baked pasta out of it. We're not pre-boiling it. Instead, we're just soaking it in advance. It's a lot easier. We have to use one less pot if we soak it this way, and all we need to do is take half a box of pasta, and we need to soak it in hot water for about 30 minutes or so. This is a method I've gotten from, the Serious Eats Baked Ziti recipe. And as a result, you save on needing to use another pot, you're able to take that time and prep everything else, and the pasta doesn't stick with each other. A really huge problem when people try to do a baked pasta at home, like a lasagna, they boil the pasta in advance, they set it out, and then all the pasta is stuck to each other. By doing it with this method, you are completely avoiding that reality, that future from taking place. So guys, for today, I'm only going to be using about half a pound of pasta. Because I don't think I need a full pound of baked pasta at home. A full pound is quite a bit to use up, so roughly half a pound. Something along those lines. I think that'll be more than okay. And by the way, everybody, if you have any cooking questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. It can be about this dish, it can be about something else. I'm here to help you learn how to cook. Okay, so don't you forget it, please and thank you. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put this pasta away. And now we don't necessarily need boiling water. We just need some hot water from my tap. The boiling water may result in this pasta actually becoming overcooked and over soft. Favorite pasta shape? I do love bucatini. I love bucatini. I love tagliatelle. Those are some of my favorites. Yeah, can't live without them really. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to just cover this with some nice hot water from my tap. And you want it to be hot. You don't want it to be boiling, but you definitely want hot water. Not tepid, not cool, but hot. Okay. That should be okay. And we want to make sure that the pasta is covered at least 3 to 4 inches above it with water, because the pasta is going to soak up all of this liquid and then it's going to end up swelling up. The only thing that you do have to keep in mind is that in the first 5 minutes of the soaking process, this is where the pasta can most easily stick. So let's go ahead and hit this also with a good amount of salt. Darby, not tepid, hot water. A nice, generous amount of salt, guys. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and take a spoon and we're going to mix it around. And I'm going to go ahead and set a timer for 30 minutes. But yeah, you want to make sure that the pasta is nicely covered. So again, this is not a very traditional way of going about it, right? Typically people pre-boil it. They pre-boil it and then they try to make like a big pasta out of it. I much prefer my method instead, rather than the Serious Eats method. It just saves on dishes and you're able to do everything else that you need to do in the same time. Okay? Nice and easy, guys. Nice and easy. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this pasta and I'm going to go ahead and set it behind us. Okay, does anybody have any questions about this process thus far? We're just going to be going ahead and moving on throughout the rest of it and figure out what else we need to, what else do we actually need to get done today. I'm just going to go ahead and set a timer for 30 minutes though. Okay. 30 minutes, pasta's behind me, pasta is chilling out. Just gonna get my pan ready for the next step, guys. Just give me one moment, please. And then we'll be moving on throughout everything else that we need to do today. Just adjusting my pan, adjusting the focus on my camera. I didn't set it up perfectly today. Okay, so guys, we now have to begin the process of making the bechamel and the rest of the fillings for the baked pasta itself. So what is a bechamel? Chat. Is there anybody here that does not know what a bechamel is? Although I might be putting you on the spot because I'd really love to explain this concept. You don't? That's okay. SMG Hottie. If it's just you, well, guess what? I'm going to explain it anyways. So guys, we're going to be making a little something called a bechamel. We're going to be doing a white sauce today. So a bechamel, let's talk about this really quickly. The thing that you need to understand is that a bechamel is the core of a lot of different cuisines and it's a lot of different cultures it's used. It comes from French cooking, and essentially all that a bechamel is thickened milk. Right? It is a sauce made out of thickened milk using butter and flour and milk and then a couple of other things at the end as well. The beauty of a bechamel is that it is used in so many different places. The technique of mixing fat and flour and then adding a liquid to it, that's how you get a gravy, even if it's not directly a milk. But that's how you get something like a sausage gravy, right? You take the sausage fat, you add the flour, you add the milk to it, you get a sausage gravy. A bechamel is also the base of a lot of different cheese sauces because the milk, the natural emulsion of the milk, the natural presence of the butter allows cheese to melt into it. So a bechamel is the basis for a lot of cheese sauces. It's the basis for gravies. Or in this case, what we'll be doing, it's also going to be the basis for the baked pasta. The idea of also the American Alfredo sauce, which is essentially a thickened milk and heavy cream sauce, is also in a form bechamel, fat, flour, and then a dairy product as well. And so the pasta itself, it's going to bake alongside this bechamel, and the bechamel, it's going to allow the cheese to melt into it really, really beautifully. Okay, so it's going to be a white sauce. It's going to be butter, it's going to be flour, and it's going to be milk. And I'm going to walk you through each of the ratios, each of the proportions, and talk a little bit about why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, so can I please get a yes, chef? Please and thank you from everybody watching. Ooh, I dropped my stool on my foot. Ow, that did end up hurting a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start measuring. Let's start measuring out some ingredients. I don't typically measure out ingredients, but for the bechamel, I actually think the ratio is pretty important. So let's go ahead and begin. the first thing that we're going to need to do, guys, we're going to need to measure out some milk. So for today, for my sauce in total, I'm roughly going to need 3 cups of milk or so. Okay, I only have a half cup measured, but that's okay. We're roughly going to need 3 cups of milk. I think this one might be a little too small for that. And we'll talk about everything we're doing and why we're doing it. Okay. So let me go ahead and get some milk out. And guys, I'm going to be using whole milk for this. Some of you may ask me if there's like a vegan substitute. Can you use oat milk? I'm not actually the expert on the subject matter. I wouldn't be able to answer that for you. So this is a half cup measure. I'm going to be doing 3 cups of milk. So the ratio, guys, that I'm using for today is going to be 1.5 tablespoons of flour to 1 cup of milk. The thinner the bechamel that you desire, you maybe want to do a tablespoon of flour to a cup of milk. If you want like a really, really thick bechamel, you can even go as high as 3 tablespoons of flour per cup of milk. But for today, I'm only going to need 1.5 tablespoons of flour to a cup of milk. So that's 1 cup in total. That's 2 cups. And now 3 cups. Oh wait, actually, did I lose count? This is a quart of milk. Wait guys, I think I lost count. Can somebody please tell me how many I ended up adding? Did I add 5 or 6 of these? Please, is there anybody that was counting with me? Oh no, uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is okay. You know what? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm quite confident though that this is... Okay, I think we got the right amount. I'm pretty sure that this is 3 cups of milk in here. And if not, we'll go ahead and take some away. And the ratio for this is fairly important. That's why I'm pretty insistent about this. As you guys may know, with home cooking, I almost never actually, track these kinds of things. I never measure things out because I don't love baking. But the reason it's important with the bechamel is because that's how we actually determine its viscosity. If you're looking for like a very thin jus, maybe something to put over a piece of roasted chicken, you only want to do 1 tablespoon per cup of milk. Okay, and so now guys, let's go ahead and get the flour nicely and beautifully measured out. I'm going to go ahead and just set the milk behind me because we don't really need it right now. And I'm going to go ahead and get my flour out. And so, because we're using 3 cups of milk, and we need 1.5 tablespoons per cup of milk, we need roughly 4.5 tablespoons of flour. Okay, so let's go ahead and measure that out. And guys, you don't have to go as crazy as measuring the flour out by the gram, right? You don't have to do anything crazy like that. So that's 1 tablespoon of flour. That's 2 tablespoons of flour. That's 3 tablespoons of flour because in total we need 4.5 tablespoons of flour. That's 3, and that's 4. And then I'm just also going to get 1/2 tablespoon. So again, guys, the ratio that I am using for today, for the specific viscosity that I'm going for 1.5 tablespoons of flour to 1 cup of milk. Can I please get a yes, chef? From everybody watching right now. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and set my flour away because we no longer need it. Everybody please say thank you to Mr. Flour. He's done a wonderful job for us today. And now, I'm also going to get, last but not least, let's get some butter. And we got to measure out that butter as well. So once again, we need 4.5 tablespoons of butter, which is a little bit more than half a stick. Okay, so you're always using volumetrically the same amount of butter as you are flour. Okay, so that's 4.5 tablespoons. That's what I'm going to be using for today. And it's going to make a lot of, guys, this is going to make a lot of bechamel. We might not necessarily use all of this bechamel today, but it'll still be good for us to have. Okay, and let's just go ahead and peel off the butter paper, I suppose. Okay, and just throw that all into my little trash bowl. Lovely. And we don't really need to chop up the flour or the butter or anything, guys. It's still going to just melt. Okay, so 4.5 tablespoons of flour, 4.5 tablespoons of butter. And yeah, leftover bechamel has a lot of different uses, guys. If you have too much of it, it's genuinely no problem at all. And we'll talk about that all in just a moment. Okay, so let's talk about what else we actually want to have for our bechamel today. Okay, so we're going to be doing a bit of a traditional French route with this. A very traditional French thing to do that you see a lot, genuinely all over the place in French cooking, guys, is the addition of nutmeg. You see the addition of nutmeg into a bechamel. Okay, and I have here some whole nutmeg. This is, if there was ever a spice to invest in a whole version of, it would definitely be nutmeg. Okay, so whole nutmeg is nothing like the pre-ground stuff. The pre-ground stuff, it almost feels a little bit metallic and it loses a lot of its warmth. Guys, a whole nutmeg, it stays fresh for so much longer. We're going to just be grating it over the pot of, bechamel. We're only going to need a little bit of it. Okay, a little bit goes a long way. This is definitely one that you can have too much of. So you say you can't have too much of it, you can have a lot of it. The nutmeg itself, you don't want to be able to point out the nutmeg, otherwise it gets kind of unpleasant. You just want to be able to feel its oomph, just a little bit, okay? So, nutmeg, ready to go for this. And then the other component, guys, the way that we actually make this bechamel Italian is, and now this is where, by the way, it's really, really fun, it's really, really fascinating. An Italian bechamel oftentimes has parmesan added to it. And in Italian, it's called a bechamella. A bechamella is basically a bechamel plus parmesan cheese. Now, I don't have Parmigiano Reggiano. I just have this basic parmesan. Okay, but we're just going to be grating it down and we're going to get a nice big handful of it to go ahead and mix in. And the beauty of something like a bechamel is because of the fact that we have the milk, the parmesan is then able to melt into it. So this is how we take it and make it an Italian sauce. Right? There is a lot of cultural exchange between Italy and French cooking, Italian and French cooking. Okay, and this is like one of those things. There's a lot of overlap. So, all we're going to do, guys, and I'm not going to be grating it. You're going to see what we do. All I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to take, I like to use my microplane for this. This is my preferred tool of choice. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my block of Parmesan. And we're going to be using a microplane. Guys, if you don't have a microplane, I really, well, the tip broke off. That's fine. I really do recommend investing in one because you're going to see like how easily it's able to process all of this cheese. We're not going to need all of it. We're going to need some for topping and whatnot later on. But I just want to be able to show you how quickly and beautifully you get like this really aerated crumb. If not, you can just use like a box grater on like the finest setting, but you don't want big shreds of Parmesan. It is essential that it's very, very small so that it's able to then easily melt into something. And so guys, I'm going to need a hefty amount of this. I'm going to need more than I would regular Parmigiano Reggiano because American Parmesan is a lot weaker in taste, okay? It's a lot weaker, it's a lot less flavorful. And when it's weaker and it's less flavorful because it's a little moister, it's gonna melt in easier, but we need more to get the job done. Now, you might be asking me, oh, Daramgar, how much cheese do we need? I have no idea. I'm going based off of vibes. What's the difference between a microplane and a zester/fine shred? A microplane is just a specific brand of zester. It's just that a microplane is a very good brand of them. Okay. What do you guys think? I think that's a nice hefty pile of cheese for us to go ahead and throw into the sauce. Have a little cheese snack. Because when you cook with cheese, it is imperative that you have a little cheese snack at all times. Okay? And I'm going to just scoop all of this up. And I might save some of this for like topping the actual baked pasta itself. Okay. So, we're almost done, guys. We're going to do one last component, which is I want some garlic. I would love some garlic in today's bechamel. Okay? So come take a look. This is what we have so far. A big pile of Parmesan. I need 3 cups of sauce in total, and the ratio I'm using is 1.5 tablespoons of butter to 1.5 tablespoons of flour. In total, I have 4.5 tablespoons of butter, 4.5 tablespoons of flour. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and just throw this cheese into the fridge because we don't really need it right now. And then we also have 3 cups of milk ready to go for this. So the last step, guys, is I want to get some garlic into this because I want a very nice, delicious, flavorful sauce. Guys, do we make bland sauces on the stream? Do we make bland sauces? I want to hear a nice resounding no, chef. Please and thank you. We do not make bland sauces. And so I want it to be flavored. I want the flavor of the Parmesan. I want the flavor of the cheese. I want all these other things inside of it. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to do about like 2 garlic cloves or so. That's 1. That's right. I'm glad that all of you understand. Okay, guys, 2 garlic cloves. Let's go ahead and pop them out. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a little crush. Why do we crush them, guys? It's so that we can easily separate the skin from the actual clove itself. Okay? And then, guess what? Because of the fact that we gave them a little smash, we gave them a little bit of a tap, the skin should just easily come on off. Also, hello to Serena. Welcome on in. Okay? Easily come off if you crush it enough, actually. I don't think I crushed that enough. Okay. Excellent. And that should now be okay. Come on. Why is this one being so stubborn today? You can't stand fresh garlic, it annoys me, but I want to show you now, Atano, that there is so much that you can do with fresh garlic. Okay, this guy is just not crushing today, and the skin is just not coming off of him. He's being stubborn. I know I'm definitely not selling you on fresh garlic, but the way that I make fresh garlic a lot easier to use at home, guys, is by using a garlic press, because I cannot stand for the life of me chopping garlic by hand. So I'm just taking my little paring knife, and I'm going ahead and I'm just trimming off the dried off butts of it. And guys, all I'm going to do, I'm going to be using my handy dandy little garlic press, because I hate chopping garlic. Garlic is sticky and unpleasant to work with, and it's so inefficient to actually hand chop it unless you're going for like an explicitly sliced garlic. And so all I do, I throw into the garlic press. That's 1, that's 2, and that's all the processing that we actually needed for it. Then we take the paring knife and we go through it, and then we're just going to put it all through one last time, just to make sure that we got every last little bit of garlic, because we don't want to waste anything. Chat, do we want to waste anything? I want to hear a nice no, chef. Okay, and these are going to now be the ingredients. These are the full ingredients for my bechamel. So guys, this is the garlic, 2 cloves of garlic, a big old pile of fresh Parmesan cheese. I have 4.5 tablespoons of flour, 4.5 tablespoons of butter, and 3 cups of milk. And so guys, again, I typically cannot stand measuring things at home. I feel like it's annoying. I think it's a waste of time most of the time. But this is one of the few times that it actually does matter. Chat, I want you to measure things at home. For this, if you're doing a bechamel, you need to be measuring out your ratios. Also, hello to Kaze. Does it matter if I have fresh garlic? Yes. Nagatano, ground garlic, and fresh garlic, they're 2 very different products. Ground garlic is not worse, it's just different. Okay, so guys, we're going to go ahead and go on over to my stove. And so let me talk to you about the actual theory of what it means to make a bechamel. So, what is it going to be? What is this process actually going to entail? What is it actually going to involve? Well, let's talk about that in just a moment. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to melt down the butter. We're going to add my 4 tablespoons and a half of butter. It's basically a little bit more than half a stick. Okay? 4.5 tablespoons of butter, and we're adding it on to a medium heat. So the butter, we're going to melt it, and then we're going to be frying. Also, thank you so much to the gifted sub Fukaze. Thank you. We're going to be melting it down. The first step is going to be properly frying the butter. But the first thing I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to break a misconception. I'm going to talk about something right now. Okay, there is a huge misconception in French cooking. There is something that is absolutely complete nonsense. And let me talk to you about what it is. One of the most nonsensical bits of French cooking is they say you have to cook out the raw taste in the flour. The reason they add the flour into the butter at the stage is because they say you have to cook out the raw taste in it, whatever that means. I promise you, by frying the flour in the butter itself, you're not cooking out the raw taste. It will naturally cook out by the process of actually boiling and simmering and cooking your bechamel. What you are looking for, and the thing you need to ask yourself, is how much do I want to actually toast my flour? The mixture of butter and flour and toasting the flour in the butter is called a roux. Sometimes, if you don't want any of like those nutty toasted flour butter flavors, you want to basically just keep it almost entirely white. Or you can go towards a blonde for a little bit of nutty flavor. You can go to, like a very golden for like a really, really nutty flavor. Or if you're doing Cajun Creole cooking. Guys, Cajun Creole cooking, they also use a roux a lot because of the French influence that it's had on Louisiana food. That's where you like really heavily toast the flour. Like you basically push it to the point where it's almost entirely burnt. okay? It's almost entirely burnt, and that's when you actually then add the rest of your ingredients. So my goal is I want a slightly blonde roux. I'm not looking for super, super deep nutty flavors out of this, but I'm not looking for it to basically be completely white either, okay? And the way that you toast it is actually entirely up to you. Chat, that challenge, that question, the way that you want to do it, it is up to you and your own discretion. So, there's two schools of thought. Some people use a whisk, some people use a spoon. I've personally become a whisk boy in recent time. I've become a real whisk guy. Let's make sure that we have our station set up and ready to go for this. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to have my milk out there. I'm going to have a ladle set up and ready to go. And now I'm just getting my butter nice and melted. I'm getting it nice and hot. And now it's bubbling away because there was some moisture in the pan. So please forgive it for a second. And guys, the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to be adding in all the flour. Now, the optimal pan of choice for this would be a little something called a saucier. A saucier is essentially a saucepan like this, except it has rounded off edges on the bottom, and it makes it easier to whisk inside of it. But that's okay. So into all of this beautifully melted butter, guys, we're going in with all the flour. And now you want to whisk this bad boy. You want to whisk it and you want to mix it. And while we're also doing this, we're going to be adding in my minced garlic. All of my minced garlic. And now, guys, the question of how much do you actually want to toast this, how much do you want to fry this, is entirely up to you. But your goal at the moment is to break up as many of the lumps as possible, right? You're whisking this aggressively because you don't want any lumps of flour. You want to whisk it, whisk it, whisk it until this is basically a nice smooth paste. If the flour is in lumps, it's not going to evenly thicken up later on. So guys, we're whisking it and we're doing this on like a medium-low heat. If it's too high, it's just going to end up burning the flour. It's going to end up burning the butter and the garlic. So we're whisking it, and we're using a whisk because a whisk does effectively break up the lumps. It has nothing to do with incorporating air. This is purely for the mitigation of any lumpage whatsoever. We're going to have some lumps that are the garlic lumps. But right now, guys, we just want to aggressively whisk and mix and whisk and mix and whisk and mix. Can I please get a yes, chef, from everybody watching? You don't want to walk away during this process. You don't want to walk away. You don't want to move away. You want to be whisking and just stay nice and active over the stove. I'm actually going to really quickly, in that case, take chat with me so that I can listen and talk to you guys while I'm doing this. So I might have just left it a little bit too long on that side, but that's okay because we're whisking and we're mixing. We're whisking and we're mixing. And now I'll be able to read the chat while I do this. So does anybody have any questions for me during this process? And while we're also doing this and cooking the flour, we're developing some of that nutty taste by browning the butter, by browning the flour really slowly, and we're also getting some really delicious cooked garlic flavor as well. All right. So I want to get this nice and slightly golden. And we're just breaking up any existing lumps, guys. Anything that might be a little lumpy. So this is where you're working out your arms. There is no easy way to do this. You just want to break down every single last possible lump remaining because otherwise it's just not going to thicken evenly later on. Okay? Break it up. Keep it going. Keep it moving. Do the job, guys, okay? And if your bechamel is like lumpy by the end of it, what we can also do is just strain it out through like a fine mesh strainer. But I would like to avoid that if it's possible. Okay. It's still a little bit lumpy, and you got to remember that some of those lumps are actually the garlic itself. I would have probably liked to have added the garlic a little later on so that I could actually better like ascertain how good of a job I've done whisking the roux itself. But that's okay. So it's going to look lumpier than it actually is. What's the difference between a bechamel and a roux, asks Ariadne Overdrive. The difference is that the roux is this step right here. The roux is just the fat and the flour. The bechamel is milk plus a roux. Okay, so roux is part of a bechamel. It's just this first initial step, which is building the roux. Okay, guys, we have it nicely whisked together. It's getting nice and golden brown almost. Let's go in with our first ladle of milk. And now, again, aggressively whisking. We don't want any lumps to form. We want to basically get a really nice thick paste. It's going to stick to the bottom. It's going to look a little bit like this, and that's entirely okay. Let's go in with the next ladle, guys. It's going to slowly but surely form into a beautiful sauce. You don't want to add all of it at once. You essentially just want to almost make like this little bit of dough, okay? And now at this stage, we can do another generous ladle. And we're just going to be breaking up everything into this milk itself. And we're looking for it to get a nice little paste. Okay, it's going to get looser as we go on. And this is going to be a lot of work. So please bear with me. Just continuing to scrape up the sides, get it off of the spoon. And we're going to need a little bit more. And I promise you, this is all going to come together into a beautiful sauce by the end of it. Okay? So just get it all in there, get it all incorporated. And you're going to see all of it come together. Now be careful not splashing it. That's the only thing that you don't want to do. You don't want to stir it so aggressively that it's splashing all over the place. I know it looks lumpy right now, but I promise you, just with the process of aggressively whisking it, it can and it will come together really, really beautifully. Okay? So you can already see, guys, it's coming together. It's doing exactly what it needs to do. It's getting really, really nice and beautifully thick. Okay, we're whisking, we're whisking, we're whisking, and then when it gets too difficult to whisk, we're doing the next ladle of milk. Ooh, I am exhausted doing this process. I forgot how exhausting it is to do this volume of bechamel. This is a lot of bechamel we're making at once, just to clarify. Okay, and we're going. And guys, as you can see, it's getting really nice and beautiful. It's all coming together. Nice and slowly. It's a bit of a workout. I'm working out my arms. Brutal. Yeah, not my favorite thing to do in a kitchen, but it's a nice reason for me to get more in shape. All right, nice big ladle of milk. Okay, and now once we're almost at this stage, guys, you can see it's really, really luscious. It's really, really beautiful. It's really, really thick. We can go in with even more. And we don't want to add too much at once. If we add too much at once, the flour ends up seizing up into little lumps. Okay, so we're adding it gradually. Gradually, gradually, gradually. Little bit by little bit. And now, that is the beginnings of a really beautiful bechamel. Those little lumps, that's not the flour that's lumping up. That's just the garlic, I promise. I'm not coping. Okay. Guys, take a look at this incredible sauce that we have built together. That's you and me, buddy. That's you and me. Okay? What are we all thinking? Just getting all of it nicely and evenly incorporated. There you go, guys. Look at that viscosity. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go in with the rest of this milk now. All of it in, all of it inside, and whisk all of it together. This is whole milk, absolutely. I would never work with 2%. I hate 2% and skim milk conceptually. And so guys, this is what we're looking for now. This is the beginnings of a really, really beautiful bechamel. It's nice and luscious, and we have to keep on whisking because we have all of this paste still at the bottom. Okay. But we're breaking all of it up. We're breaking all of it up. We're using the whisk to its full potential. And then at some point or another, guys, we could switch off to a nice little silicone spatula. Okay, and a silicone spatula is just going to do a good job of just scraping up the sides, scraping up the bottom, just like so. Beautiful. Does anybody have any questions about this process so far? This is where it gets a little bit easier, and all we need to do is bring it up to a simmer and drop down the heat, and it will naturally thicken up as it goes. Okay. But just like that, guys, we have a really, really beautiful bechamel that all came together. And it's going to need a little bit of cook time because we want to cook out the raw taste in the flour. So it's still not done quite yet. Quite far from it, actually. I'm going back to my whisk now. Again, I'm just destroying any lumps that could be present inside of it. Whoa! That was a lot of work, wasn't it? That was a lot of work. That was a lot of effort. And we're still going to need to continue to put on some more effort. But we no longer, I guess I'm still going to use my ladle in the future. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this bowl. The bowl did a wonderful job for us today. And again, we're continuing to whisk. We're whisking every single corner. We're whisking every single edge. We want to keep breaking it up, guys. We want to make sure that the bottom of it is not scorching because of how viscous it is. Because how viscous it is, it can easily scorch and burn on the bottom. Okay? We're just letting it go. We're letting it do its thing. And guys, look at my bechamel. Huh? Serious business, I think. Right here. Look at that. Nice and luscious. And now it's not completely white. It's not like a perfect white bechamel or anything, because I was, again, going through that intentionally golden color on it. In the meantime, I'm also going to be preheating my oven at 400 for the actual pasta itself. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for me for this process? So all we're doing, we're just bringing this up to a simmer and letting it do its thing. Beautiful. That is a gorgeous start of a bechamel. Excellent. I don't actually think I'm going to need the silicone spatula again. Woof. A lot of work, a lot of effort, but it's all going to come to an end soon enough. And now, now is the stage where you don't have to whisk it nearly as aggressively as you once were. The only thing we're looking for is to make sure it's not scorching at the bottom. Mine looks top tier. Well, thank you. Also, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Thank you, thank you. Mine looks top tier. Well, it's because we added the milk gradually. Guys, the trick of this is to add the milk incrementally. If you add in all of the milk at once, the flour is going to seize up into these little granules, and then it's not going to break up and actually become smooth. So the key to it was the fact that we ladled it in and whisked it really, really aggressively. A whisk does an excellent job of that. Oh my God, does everybody in chat just have the same emotes? And that timer, by the way, that beep was telling us that the rigatoni is almost done soaking. Although I do wish I did a little bit more than half a pound, but we'll see. Okay. And it's just going, guys. It's just heating up. We're just bringing it up to a boil, dropping it to a simmer, and then we're adding in our seasonings. We don't really have to add in salt until the end of it. We do want to make sure that we have a nice, properly seasoned bechamel. You love my tattoos? Why, thank you. But guys, that's how you make a bechamel. And this is one of the most important sauces in so many different cuisines, of course, especially French cooking. Spilled some water on the floor. A little bit tragic, a little bit unfortunate. And again, we're never stepping away from the stove for too long. We're never stepping too long away because it can start to form a skin on the bottom of basically cooked flour. And that timer is telling us what happened. That is the rigatoni done soaking. So we'll go ahead and get rid of some of that water soon. So again, we're not stepping away from this, guys. We're continuing to baby this guy. Okay, and now you can see it's beginning to slowly bubble, little by little. You never want to make sure that it's bubbling too aggressively. Okay? If it's bubbling too aggressively, it's just going to be squelching on the bottom and then splashing all over the kitchen. Because when something is viscous and it's bubbling, there's so much tension on top that it just splashes all over the place, and it's very, very unpleasant. I don't have to tell you not to let it splash over the kitchen, but just in case I did, well, that was your warning. Okay. It's getting there, guys. It's beginning to bubble away now. We gave it so much love. We gave this so much effort. We gave this so much affection. Okay? And now she's finally coming together. That is my lovely, well, at least the start of my lovely bechamel. Okay? So she's bubbling. And now we don't need it to be that hot, so we're just going to drop the heat on it. We don't need it to be boiling away or anything. We just want a very nice light simmer. And now, guys, we can begin the actual seasoning stage. So let's go in with a nice big, generous punch of salt. Going right inside. Traditional French cooking mandates you must not have black pepper in the white sauce. You have to use white pepper. It's complete nonsense. Add black pepper, add white pepper if you want, but they just taste like completely different things. And now, before this, again, dries up on the bottom, I'm just whisking all of it in. And this is kosher salt that I'm using. I only cook with kosher salt at home because I'm able to easily pinch it and grab it as needed. Okay? And so, I'm also lowering the heat, guys. We don't want it to be aggressively bubbling or anything. So, just, again, whisking all of my seasonings in. I'm going to want some more black pepper. You can do as much or as little as you would like. This is entirely up to you. Okay? And then the final addition is going to be the parmesan. The final addition is going to be the Parmigiano. And the reason we're not adding the Parmesan any sooner is because the Parmesan can easily split. Because of how dry of a cheese Parmesan is, it doesn't actually lend itself well to being heated too much. And so it will naturally and easily melt in. Okay guys, I have a little bit of nutmeg here, and I do truly mean only that much. That is the only amount of nutmeg I'm going to be adding in. Of course, we'll be giving it a little bit of a taste and deciding if we want more in a little bit. And also, you don't need to add all of your salt in immediately because the Parmesan itself is going to be really, really salty. Okay? The Parmesan is going to be salty. It's going to add in a really nice saltiness into the whole thing. And so don't taste it up until the point that you add the cheese. Okay, guys, look at this bechamel. It's nicely and beautifully thickened now. That is the texture. That is the viscosity that I'm looking for this baked pasta. Isn't that beautiful? I want to hear a nice yes, chef, from everybody watching. Please and thank you. Okay. And now, guys, let's go in with a nice, and I want you to whisk it. We're going to shut off the heat now. We're shutting off the heat. We don't want this to be boiling. We don't want this to be bubbling anymore. I'm going to go in with a nice handful of cheese, and I'm whisking this in really aggressively. Again, I don't want you to whisk in the Parmesan on the heat, because otherwise the Parmesan itself could easily split. Parmesan being such a dry cheese, it easily separates. It doesn't have any emulsifiers, right? It can easily separate into the protein and the fat portion. So you're whisking it in, and if you think you've done whisking the Parmesan, you haven't. The Parmesan tends to sink to the bottom. So you can't undo whisk it, but you can't over whisk it, excuse me, but you definitely can undo whisk it. So some more Parmesan and a little bit more as well for good measure. And that, guys, is our lovely, beautiful bechamel. So keep on whisking, keep it going. Okay? Get it all nicely and beautifully combined. There you go. That is going to be the base of our baked pasta today, guys. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't she beautiful? It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of elbow grease. But that is how you obtain a beautiful, seasoned bechamel quite like this one. Okay. There you go. There she is. And let's go ahead and give this bad boy a little taste. Now we go ahead and we check for seasonings. This is the moment that you decide, do I want more salt? Do I want more pepper? Do I want more nutmeg? What do I actually want out of this? Oh, that's good. Guys, that little bit of nutmeg, the smallest, littlest bit of nutmeg makes the world of a difference. You have no idea. That, to me, is absolutely perfect. That is a perfect bechamel. Not separated, not grainy, because we added in all the cheese at the end. That is exactly what I was looking for. Gorgeous, isn't it? Nice and thick and viscous and beautiful. Guys, this is going to be the base of it. The only thing I'm going to want some more salt. That's the only thing I tasted for you that I'm really lacking. Nice big generous pinch of salt in here, and let's whisk it in. Okay, everybody, that's the bechamel. Does anybody have any questions? We're going to go ahead and we're going to reserve some of it because I want some of it to actually blend the spinach with. We're going to blend some of the spinach with it to get a spinach cream. And then we're going to combine all of it and make a really luscious, beautiful baked pasta. So, whisk down. We're done with the whisk. Let's go ahead and we're just going to reserve a small little cup of the bechamel, again, for the previously stated purposes of the spinach. Okay, this is what we're going to use to obtain the spinach cream. I'm just going to grab that, and I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. Okay. Delicious. Super simple, guys. Super delicious. That is how you make a perfect bechamel. And the only thing left that I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a suitable lid for this, and we just want to set up a lid so it doesn't dry out on top. Because of the fact that we use flour and milk, it will naturally almost develop like a skin on top, and all we have to do every now and then is just mix everything back on in. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and proceed with everything else that we need for the pasta. The pasta has been soaked officially in the hot water. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the nutmeg. We have officially made the bechamel as well. So I'm going to go ahead and strain out the pasta really quickly. Just get that done, get that out of the way. just take my pasta that's been, again, and we're not doing it the traditional way, right? We're not using a boiling pot of water for the pasta. We just soaked it in some hot water instead. And we have about half a pound of that ready to go for us. Sweet. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and make everything else that we need to do. We need to do the spinach cream. We need to chop up some of the Chinese chive, and we have to get the cheese cut up for the actual baked pasta itself. How hot was the water when the soak began? It was like hot water from my tap. So not boiling, but also not cool either. I know that's not a very helpful metric. I do apologize for that, but that's all I got for you. Okay, so here's what we have to do. We have to think about everything else going inside. We need to make the spinach cream. So we're going to blend the spinach down with some of the bechamel as that cools off. We need to chop up some Chinese chive. We need to chop up some spinach leaves as well. And then we need to chop up the provolone. So let's go ahead and get that going all right about now. Let's begin with chopping up the cheese, and then we'll do the cream. So let's head over here. Okay, and is my handle here hot? It is slightly hot. Okay, so guys, let's go ahead and get some of the Chinese chive. Now, the chive, again, this isn't a particularly traditional vegetable used in this kind of cooking whatsoever, but I think it's going to be really, really delicious in today's pasta because it's going to contribute a very pleasant allium-y flavor into everything, okay? I love Chinese chive. I want to be able to use it a little bit more, and so all I'm going to do, I'm going to take it, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the dried off bottoms of them, right? And this is purely because I had some in my fridge and I wanted to get rid of it. Okay, and that's what it means to cook at home. It is making the most out of what you have. It's okay if you don't get every single last end of it. It's just been thoroughly washed, it's been thoroughly rinsed. Okay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and grab my nice little bundle of Chinese chive, and we're just going to stack it up nice and straight. Stack it up nice and straight. And now we're going to cut it up into like 1-inch pieces or so. Something like that. And all of this is going to just cook down in the oven when we do get down to it. So that's all the processing that we really need to do for the Chinese chives themselves. We're not going to saute them. We're not going to do anything crazy with them. We're just going to keep them raw and throw them on in. Let's go ahead and get a nice big plate for this. A nice big transfer plate just to be able to keep things moving. Okay, and grab it. And again, it's fine if not all of them are perfectly cut up either. It's all going to soften. It's all going to wilt in the oven itself. So now, let's go ahead and get my provolone out. Guys, as usual, I will be doing 2 separate textures of cheese. We're going to have, so I have some deli sliced cheese. So this is my deli sliced provolone right here. So we're going to be having cubes of provolone mixed in, and then we're also going to have slices of it. So that way we get 2 very different dimensions and textures of the cheese itself. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and set the sliced ones aside. And then I have half a pound of block provolone. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm gonna cut it up into cubes. I don't need the entire half pound. I'm gonna use, like, I don't know, this much cheese for today, I think. That'll be nice. And let's think about the kinds of pieces that we actually want. So for me personally, I want like small cubes. I want them to be nice and stretchy. I want them to melt in, but I don't want to only bite into just like a massive chunk of baked cheese. Okay, so I'm gonna slice it in half like so. And then we're going to just slice it up into sticks like this. Okay, lovely. Just like this, guys. Excellent. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take it and we're going to cube this up. Nice small cubes. Thin, small cubes, but not so tiny that you can't feel them. And this way, guys, we get 2 very different textures. We get 2 very, very different tastes of, you know, of cheese. Take it and cube it up. Take it and cube it up. Take it and cube it up. And it's fine if some are bigger than others. It's totally okay, guys. It's all going to come in and it's all going to melt together. And I'm not shredding. You can also just do shredded provolone if you would like. But I find that the shredded ones, especially if you don't have like a milk-based sauce, shredded cheese tends to get a little bit lost. And I want to be able to feel the cheese, right? I want to be able to feel it. I want to be able to bite into it. Hello, Jack. Welcome on in. It's good to see you, even if you're a little late. So guys, I'm just going to go ahead and take my cheese, and that's going to go onto my plate as well. Okay, so we're almost done. And now it's time to actually make the cream portion. We have to go ahead and make the cream, for the big pasta. So let's head back on over to the stove, and we're going to go ahead and set up our blending station. So my blending station, I'm just going to go ahead and grab a cutting board to keep this nice and flat. I'm going to go ahead and grab my blender. I don't need this ladle right now. This ladle can get out of here. Thank you very much. Today, we have a lot of different components going on, so please forgive me if I'm a little bit messy today. And let's go ahead and find my blender cup, wherever she may be. I actually have no idea. Aha, I have found it, it seems. And so, guys, here's what we're going to need to do. We're going to need to take a nice bundle of spinach and put it inside and blend it together with the bechamel. So let's go ahead and get that started. I'm gonna get rid of my ladle, actually. Make a little bit of space. We just have so many different components. We have so much going on. So we really need to stay on task. We have to really stay focused. Okay, so let's go back over here really quickly. Let's grab my bundle of blanched spinach, guys. Okay, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up and we're going to squeeze out a bunch of its liquid. We're going to need some for the sauteed spinach. Okay, we're going to set that aside. And then the rest of it is going to be added into the pasta directly. Some of it is going to just be chopped up and most of it is just going to be blended in instead. So guys, we're going to squeeze out the majority of the liquid, but we need some liquid just to be able to loosen it up. Okay, so the majority of the liquid, out it goes, back into this bowl. Okay, just like that. And it's fine for it to still be a little bit wet. We just don't need all of it. All right, that should be okay. And I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that bundle on into my blender cup. We just have so much going on. Everything is going to get less chaotic in just a second, guys, once we do begin to properly assemble everything. And now, we're going to go in. Remember the reserved bechamel that I have? I'm going to go ahead and just spoon that in. And this is how we get our lovely spinach cream. So all that bechamel, now that it's cooled off, it like really gelatinizes and it really sets, and that's okay. Once the bechamel heats back up, it gets really nice and runny. It's just because of the starches and the fats. They get really, really thick when they're all cold. Okay, so all of it going inside. Guys, that is so, you have no idea how good that is. Beautiful. What is happening in chat? What is going on right now? What are you guys doing? Oh, I love that you guys are so active. What is going on? Okay, and that's all that we really need for the blended spinach, guys. That's my spinach with a little bit of the spinach liquid. That's the bechamel. Let's head back on over to the stove, and we're just gonna go ahead and blend this bad boy. And we might need a little bit of extra liquid just to help get it going, because it might just be a little too thick in there. So we might do a couple of splashes of water. A little too thick. And that's totally okay. I'm actually just gonna do a splash of milk instead of just plain water. And it is blending, it's just not blending as finely as I would like it to. Chef, you have a garlic question? Please. Yeah, I'd be... Guys, what are you guys doing? I have never seen my chat do such a thing. Splash of milk, going inside. It's going to help loosen up the whole mixture. There you go. You can buy pre-peeled if it's a 40 clove garlic recipe too, you know. You absolutely can. There you go. Almost making a nice little smoothie, and I'm just gonna go in there and I'm just gonna shake all of it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, because we have some bechamel that's just stuck to the bottom, and blend that one more time. Nice and green, nice and vibrant, right? Nice and beautiful. And I think that should now be okay. I know that we didn't get all of that bechamel blended in, but that's all right. And guys, look at that beautiful, green, vibrant, vibrant color. And all of that is just going to be mixed into the pasta itself. What is happening? I have truly never seen any of you guys do this before. I am astounded in a way. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and just start mixing all of our different ingredients that we need for this lovely pasta together. We have this big, beautiful pot of the bechamel. Remember our soaked rigatoni that we did in the hot water. It's just going to go directly inside. And I know this seems like a lot of sauce, but it's going to soak some of it up. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my lovely spinach cream. Right, all of that goes inside, nice and beautiful. And then we're just going to go ahead and mix and mix and mix and mix all of this stuff in, guys. Going to mix every last bit of it in, and we don't want to waste any of the spinach, so a nice silicone spatula does wonders for us here. And now the pasta, it's going to be covered, it's going to be soaked in all of that lovely sauce. And again, it's going to soak some of it up as it cooks and as it bakes, although that could be an aggressive amount of sauce. We'll find out. So guys, mix all of it in. You want to get all of that sauce nice and combined. You can see that gorgeous color that it has attained. There you go. And we're adding in the provolone last because it's going to basically start to melt in a little bit. And we want to essentially mitigate that up until the very end. So we're just mixing in the sauce. We're making sure all of the sauce is filling up the insides of the rigatoni. We want it to fill up inside. We want it to soak all of it up. Okay? Look at that color. Beautiful, I think, at least. Okay? Woof. That was a lot of work. That was a lot of effort. And now, I believe we're almost done and ready to assemble. Let's go ahead and mix in the Chinese chive and my cubed up provolone. All that going inside. Guys, it's a baked pasta. It's going to have a lot of cheese. It's going to have a lot of fat. That's the way that these kinds of things go. Okay? Although my Chinese chive has stuck to the plate a little bit, so it's kind of annoying to get off. Come on. Guys, I'm going to dirty the plate a little bit, but I need to get this off now. Hey. Okay, I'm sick of it. I'm over it. Whatever. We lost a few. It's fine. Okay. And now let's mix in the cheese. Let's mix in the Chinese chive. All together with that sauce. Gorgeous. That's what I'm talking about. This is the start of an incredible baked pasta, guys. Look how beautiful that looks. Look how melty, look how cheesy this looks now. And it still has yet to bake. It's still not even close to being done quite yet. And now, everybody, it is time to build the layers. It is time to build the layers. It is time for us to actually assemble a big, beautiful pot of the stuff. And we're missing still a couple of things, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So guys, let's head back over here. Boop. I'm just gonna show this off to you all. In the meantime, look at that cheese. Oh, look at that pasta. Amazing. Okay, here's what we're going to need. We're going to first need a sheet tray. A sheet tray is how we're going to deliver my beautiful containers of pasta into the oven itself. I'm just also gonna wash off my knife because it is a carbon steel knife and I don't want it to rust. So wash it off and dry it off thoroughly. We have a lot of components, guys. Let's keep up. Let's keep up. We made the sauce. We made the bechamel. We made the spinach cream. We soaked the pasta. And now it's time for all of it to beautifully bake and come together. You guys excited for this? I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, please and thank you. From everybody watching, from everybody listening. So we're going to go ahead and take a bunch of foil. And we're going to go ahead and take the foil. And we're going to line the sheet tray with it. And this is just so that it will make cleanup a little bit easier later on. We're going to line the sheet tray with that. Excellent. Okay. Gorgeous. And now, let me go ahead and get over my two incredible little clay pots. Look at these things. Precious. In fact, I think I'm just going to be building this on the stove itself. It's going to make my life a little bit easier. Let's go back to the stove really quick. And I'm going to get rid of this plate of cheese. I don't really need that right now. Let's move this pasta aside. And let's go ahead and get my containers in here. Varshed again? Hello, hello. Welcome on in. Guys, we're making today a really, really beautiful baked pasta. You ready for this? I want everybody to come take a look. I want you all to take a look. We have this incredible spinach bechamel. It's full of spinach. It's green. It's vibrant. It is absolutely gorgeous at the moment. It has spinach. We made a homemade bechamel. We have some nutmeg in there. We have a bunch of Parmesan cheese as well. And now, guys, the first step is we're going to go ahead and ladle in, and of course, a bunch of big cubes of provolone as well. We're going to go ahead and we're going to ladle in some of the pasta on the bottom. Okay. In fact, I think a ladle might not be the best tool of choice here. I think I might just be using a wooden spoon instead. Hello, guys. Welcome on in. In fact, I'm just going to be showing you the pasta here. So, guys, take a look. All the pasta, we're going to be layering it into these lovely little ramekins. Going to get some of that back inside. Incredible. Also, Laura, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you, thank you. And now, a big pasta, guys, is all about building those layers. Also, Dude Process, thank you so much for the gifted subs. We came in at the busiest time, though. We're going to go in with some provolone. Because, guys, we have the chunks of provolone. And then we're also going to have the slices of provolone. So we have this really, really beautiful contrast in textures. Okay? So I'm going to go in with this incredible sliced provolone, and I'm just going to go ahead and just stuff that bad boy inside. Okay? Although I could have prepped a little bit better for us. Oh my God, you guys are all over the place right now. Thank you. I appreciate all the support. So let's go ahead and get a nice big generous slice of provolone. Okay? And then I have a couple of leaves of spinach as well. And what I want is I want like a nice little layer. I want a nice little bundle of spinach. Even though we have plenty of spinach inside, I want you to be able to really, really feel it. So I want you to be able to bite into some of it as well. So my nice cooked spinach, beautifully wilted down, even though beautifully wilted is not oftentimes a phrase that you hear people say. So let's go ahead and go in with all of that spinach. And now we're going to build up a layer of Parmesan cheese. Guys, we have so many different components that I'm losing a little bit of track of it, but we're getting there. Let's do some Parmesan now, and then we're going to top it off with some Parmesan too. A little bit of Parmesan here, a little bit of Parmesan there. And we don't need too much of it because it's already inside plenty. Okay? More Parmesan, we'll get there. We'll get there, don't you worry. Okay, guys, let's go in with my next big scoop of pasta. Has the Chinese chives, it has the provolone. Beautiful. Let's go in there and let's just make sure it's nicely stuffed in. And we have a hype train too. You guys are crazy right now. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the support, guys. I really appreciate it. On a Wednesday stream, nonetheless. Wow. Okay, guys, pasta. Let's go ahead and we're stuffing it inside. We're building all of these incredible layers. I don't know what breadworms means, but thank you. Guys, thank you for the hype train. I really appreciate all the different subs. Okay. Pasta. Nicely and beautifully stuffed in. We're going to have enough for one more layer. Okay? There you go. Whew. We're almost done, guys. Stay with me. Stick with me. Let's go ahead and give this bad boy another layer of the sliced provolone. So sliced provolone going inside of my nice little ramekin, guys. Just stuffing it in. Okay? Another layer of provolone. Guys, it's full of cheese. It's full of milk. It's full of bechamel. It's beautifully seasoned. It has so many greens in it. It has the Chinese chive. It has everything that you could possibly want and desire. And now, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit more spinach. Okay, the spinach I'm just going to grab. I squeeze some of the water out of it. We're just layering it inside. And this is, again, so that you have some of the texture, that you still have some of the bite of spinach in this. Okay, so that's one layer of spinach. And let's do the next one. I probably could have used less spinach, but that's okay, because I wanted some for the sauteed greens. Okay, and we're going to save up on the Parmesan up until the very end of it. So again, I'm just scattering my spinach inside. It's all going to bake in together. It's all going to be delicious. Let's go ahead and do my final layer of the pasta. Okay, that's one big spoonful. There you go. This spoon is bothering me now. We don't need it. Okay, and let's go in and let's do another nice big scoop, another nice big ladle. All that pasta going in, guys. It's going to be a nice tight fit, so make sure that you're packing it down, you're patting it down. We're not wasting any of the pasta. We want to go ahead and just get all of it nicely and beautifully inside. Okay? Just like that, all the way to the edges. It's a little bigger on the inside. than it may seem. Nice and tight and compact. And we have a little bit to go. Just a little bit more sauce that we can put right on top. Oh, guys, look at the spinach. Look at the pasta. Isn't that ridiculous? It's beautiful. And now, guys, the final layer is going to be some Parmesan. Just right on top, right inside, just like so. And we're going to go ahead and grate up some more and just put it right inside as well. I know I'm being really, really messy right now, but we just have to get through all of this. We have to get this done and then we can clean up a little bit, okay? We get this done, we clean it up, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, the rest of my Parmesan is still in the fridge. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. And again, it's all about the cheese, guys. It's a baked pasta dish. It's a baked rigatoni. You can't have a baked pasta dish without an excess, a beautiful amount of shredded cheese. So I'm taking out my microplane again. I'm getting some on the sheet tray itself, but that's okay. That's why the sheet tray is there. And I'm generously covering it with cheese. Beautiful. And now, this is all gonna go into the oven, 400 degrees for 40 minutes, covered up. Everybody, that's it. Let's talk about everything that's inside of it. We had some rigatoni. We soaked it in hot water. We did the Serious Eats No Boil method. We made a beautiful bechamel out of some flour, out of some milk, out of some butter, out of some nutmeg, some Parmesan cheese. We made a spinach cream using that bechamel and the spinach itself. We blended it all together. We chopped up some Chinese chive for the allium flavor. We threw in blocks, whole chunks of provolone cheese. And now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little lid. I'm going to go ahead and throw this into the oven. You can also do this in like a ceramic tray. That would also be fine. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this into a 400-degree oven for 40 minutes or so. We're going to go ahead and check on it every 20 minutes just to make sure that nothing is scorching, that nothing is burning. But guys, this is going to be the start of a really, really beautiful meal. And now, as you can tell behind me, I have made an absolute mess of utensils and dishes. So if anybody has any cooking questions whatsoever, I am running the best cooking show on Twitch. I'm here to teach you what it means to cook at home. And so, I want you to ask me anything that you possibly can. Besides, if you call it an oven. I don't like that question very much. Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and put a couple things into the fridge. And then guys, we need to go ahead and do the next component. We're also gonna be doing some sauteed sausage and greens. So that's also gonna be really, really good. It's also gonna be really delicious. It's good to see all of you. It's good to have all of you. What are the common points of failure for this recipe? Really good question. Star Fox Freshman, the one and only. Some of the most common points of failure is people messing up on making the bechamel itself. So when we were doing the bechamel, we make sure to properly mix it, and we're streaming in the milk slowly so that it doesn't actually cause any lumps. One of the biggest mistakes is that people under-whisk it and they don't slowly enough stream in the milk, and you get a bunch of lumps in your bechamel itself. How classy is it when I make fish tacos and then I eat them over the sink one by one as I make them? Brando, that is a classic. That is a home cooking special. There is nothing to be ashamed of at all in that regard. Okay, I'm just taking a couple of things. I'm taking my extra ingredients. I'm throwing them into the fridge. What is the best cheese to bathe in? I would probably say Velveeta, although a melted brie also sounds really nice. Guys, we got so much love. Thank you all for like the raids and all like the gifted subs and everything. You guys are so sweet. I got admittedly a little overwhelmed. There was a lot of people coming in at a time when we were really messy, but that's okay. But welcome. It's good to have all of you. Okay, so I'm just taking some stuff. And guys, this is the most important part about cooking at home. It's knowing the difference between active time and passive time. Passive time is when we put something into the oven. And then we get this incredible window of opportunity where we can put a couple of things away. The worst thing that you can do is walk away and go somewhere else, and you lose out on all of your momentum. You lose out on the momentum, and then what happens is, you'll end up with a massive sink of dishes by the end of it. And so, I'm just going to be going ahead, throwing things into the dishwasher, if you have one, of course. Getting all of that stuff done before we actually move on to the next step, which isn't going to take all that long. Right? I have all these different plates that I can just go ahead and get rid of, that we have no more use for, at least at the moment. Take this dirty bowl, drop it into my dishwasher. Lovely. Just getting all that done, getting all that taken care of, and out of harm's way. Are tattoos painful on the chest area, asks Jack. Yes, the closer you are to bone and thin skin and nerve endings, it's going to get more painful. If you had to describe provolone's taste, how would I do it? Honestly, a provolone is really similar to that of like a low moisture mozzarella. So the taste isn't different, it's the texture is. And a smoked provolone, of course, has a really, really nice smoked flavor to it. So if you can get smoked provolone, that's what I would recommend that you go ahead and do. Can I still make a spinach sauce without a blender available? What would I use as an alternative? Yes, you could theoretically take the blanched spinach sensorial, and you could go ahead and take a knife to it and chop it up really, really finely. And it's not going to be a spinach cream, but it's still going to be delicious. Have I ever made a tortilla de patatas? I love like a Spanish-like tortilla. So there's a really huge difference between what a Latin American tortilla is versus a mainland Spanish tortilla. A mainland Spanish tortilla is basically like an omelet with potatoes, a really thick, beautiful omelet with potatoes and sometimes onions. And I've never made one because I think it's only okay. I've had a tortilla de patatas in Spain before, but I was never like too crazy about it or anything. It was never like a dish that I fell in love with, right? And so as a result, I've never really felt the need to make it at home. The thing I really want to do is I want to teach people home cooking. I want to teach people dishes that are practical in a home cooking setting. Okay, so I'm just going ahead. Once again, guys, thank you for the patience. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for letting me clean up a little bit. Yeah, and that's what I think, right? Sanagura, you said that that's the messiest thing you've done in your kitchen. You can't recommend it. I agree. I don't want to do those kinds of things in a kitchen either where it's going to make a huge mess because I want to teach people home food. And so, Jorge, you asked me, how do I pick recipes? Everything that I teach here is home cooking. I first start by looking at my fridge and then I think, what do I want to get rid of? And what is the intersection between what I have and what do I want to make? I was craving a baked pasta, but the biggest thing I had to get rid of was all these Chinese chives. And I was like, wait a second. Chinese chives would be amazing in a baked pasta dish. And so the way that I always pick my recipes is I already have like a wealth. I basically have like a mental, like culinary encyclopedia of different inspirations and different existing dishes. And I draw inspiration from them and I find the intersection between what I know and what I have in my fridge to get rid of. Because I want to teach people not how to cook it just as a novelty. I want to teach people what it means to cook at home, right? And so let me just go ahead, and part of that is, again, this is going to segue into me saying, yeah, I got to keep cleaning. I got to keep on cleaning, got to keep on getting rid of stuff, keep on throwing it all into the dishwasher before we move on, even begin thinking about the next step. There's 200 people in chat that would do my dishes. Wow, Audio Murphy, I'm pleased. I'm glad to hear that, except nobody is in my home at the moment besides me. I hate doing the dishes, but this is the way that you make it the least painful imaginable. Right? You just get all this stuff done in advance, you get it done now, and then it's going to be a lot less painful to do later on. Okay, just throw my whisk in here as well, and then we'll move on. Thank you guys for being so patient with me for this process, by the way. I love that you all, still sticking with me for it. Even though me cleaning up isn't exactly, the most exciting thing. Hello, chef. I made spinach lasagna today, and I cleaned and you inspired to clean up during the process. Well, I'm happy to provide subs and soda. That's very sweet of you. Okay, so we have the pasta in the oven, guys. We have the pasta in the oven. The next step is going to be the actual sauteed greens and sausage. I just wanted, again, to use up some of my chive. I wanted to use up the rest of the spinach in a really nice, elegant way. And I also wanted to get a little bit of meat in as well. I'm looking behind me. I'm thinking to myself, is there anything else that I can get rid of at this moment? What we can do is we can go ahead and process the rest of the spinach. Oh, there is plenty more cooking to do. Don't you worry. I plan my time accordingly. So guys, this is the rest of the spinach. And I wanted to have this inside of my sauteed greens. Okay, so all I'm going to do is we no longer need the spider. Everybody please say thank you to Mr. Spider. He did a wonderful job for us today. And I'm just going to go in there with my hands. But first I'm gonna glove up. And I apologize for being so scatterbrained. That was like a lot more people than I was expecting to come in at once. I got like 2 lanes, and you guys are still pressing a lot of emotes in chat. So thank you for, sticking with me. Is everybody still, hanging in there? I want to hear a nice yes, chef, if you're watching and you're invested. So guys, Spinach, we're going to take it, and once again, we're going to squeeze out, for the life of us, all of the existing moisture. Right? Because we don't want any of it, we're just going to be sauteing up the spinach. I know that I've made you guys say yes, chef, a lot, but I just want to make sure that you're all here and active. You're all my little sous chefs. You're all very special. Sorry, that's too parasocial. So let's go ahead and grab the last few leaves. Let's not waste any of this stuff. Stems and all. And squeeze it dry, guys. Ah, you guys are all really coming together. Thank you. What is your opinion on people being overprotective about their food? Italians come to mind. You can't add this recipe to this recipe. So really good question, Subs and Soda. Let's talk about authenticity. So here is my number one rule on authenticity and the concept of authenticity. The number one rule is make things as accessible and reasonable to your environment as possible. And let me explain to you exactly what that means. Also, I poured the water and some of it splashed up onto my table. So let me talk to you exactly what that means. So the worst thing that I think somebody can do is to go out of their way to go ahead and maybe import an ingredient or go so far out of their way to buy something imported or really, really expensive to go ahead and make a certain version of a dish. Because at that point, there was a lot of waste. There was a lot of wasted money. There was a lot of wasted resources in actually obtaining it. I think the first thing, first and foremost, is use the best thing that is actually consistently available to you. For instance, let's say you live somewhere where you don't have guanciale for some traditional Italian recipe. You're not going to go out of your way to an Italian, market where they import, guanciale all the way from Italy. You're paying for it 3 times as much, and it's not that good of a product. You're not going to do that. Instead, you're going to literally look around and feel like, hey, my butcher shop has really good quality bacon. My butcher shop has really good quality bacon, and so why not I just use that instead? So the most important thing for me is instead of thinking about what is the most authentic way to do something relative to that traditional culture, you have to understand that recipes and ingredients are contextual to where they came from. And so what I do is I adapt things into my environment. I adapt things based on what is actually actively available to me. The worst mistake that you can do is to go out of your way to try to make something 100% authentic, but guess what? You're not cooking in Italy. You don't have access to Italian ingredients. Unless you do, then go ahead. And if you want to get access to Italian ingredients, then you have to go ahead and get a bunch of imported stuff that you're paying 3 times as much for. And then you basically every other mediocre Italian restaurant in New York City that says, oh, we're doing regional Italian cooking and we take everything from Italy. Yeah, and your food costs $35 a plate, idiot. So, my goal for authenticity is always I look around and I use ingredients that are the best available. That's all. Sorry for yelling at you for a second. I dropped my paper towel that I was wiping off the back of my sink with because I spilled some water. So here's the thing. You're going to never brand it as this is a traditional cacio e pepe or something, right? If you're not using all these different ingredients, but you can say what it's inspired by. You can take the techniques, you can take the idea, you can take the theory, you can take the vision, and then adapt it into your environment. A really good example, by the way, while we're at it. Guys, I'm not using an Italian sausage. Look at the sausage I got. I have this incredible chorizo because I have this really, really amazing Mexican butcher near me. And I have this local chorizo. This chorizo is some of the best I've ever had. I am not going to go and buy some mediocre Italian sausage from Stop & Shop when I can just instead use this really good quality chorizo. So is that authentic to this specific dish? No, but it's still going to be incredibly delicious by the end of it. Okay? So that's why I'm doing things the way that I do. Guys, look how much spinach we have. Little guy right here. We're just gonna go ahead and just chop it up just a little teeny tiny bit, make it a little bit easier for ourselves. But it's not that they're cooking snobs, son of Ra. It's not that they're cooking snobs. They're actually not properly thinking about this. I would argue that their philosophy is poorly based and not fully considerate of everybody's access to different things. Now, the only mistake that you can make is to adapt something into a local environment and then claim that this is an authentic replica of this dish from a certain place. As long as you are honest about what this is and your intentions, it can become its own beautiful thing. Okay? So that's why, like, if I'm, modifying a bolognese, right, I'm not going to call it an authentic bolognese. I'm just going to call it an adaptation, inspired by or derived from it. All right. Okay. Oof, I talked so aggressively that I got a little bit lightheaded. So that's pretty funny. Guys, let's go ahead and get the spinach off of the plate. We no longer need it now. Did a wonderful job for us today. And then we're just going to be sauteing that later on. Drink some water. Thank you, Jack. That is a very good reminder that I seem to have forgotten about completely. We just have so much stuff to do. Okay, next, I have this chili. I don't know exactly what kind of chili this is. We just have a red chili. And I just wanted this for a little bit of heat. Okay? In fact, I'm just going to use my paring knife for this because it's really, really tiny. It's going to make the job of slicing it a lot easier. I'm just going for nice, thin slices so this evenly distributes. All the way through. I want it nice and spicy. So what about pineapple on pizza? Asks Sobs and Soda, or fettuccine alfredo that actually isn't Italian. Here's my issue there. Pineapple on pizza, the reason why I don't like pineapple on pizza is why I don't like typical pizza condiments, because I don't really think of food or sandwiches or pizzas as something to assemble toppings on. I think about it holistically. And so in my mind, I don't really want to have tomato sauce with pineapple. Now, if you were to reconstruct it anyways, and think about what kind of cheese, what kind of sauce would I do that would be optimal with pineapples, then that would be a good pineapple pizza. But the reason I don't like pineapples on pizza is because it is pineapple on pizza, because it is seen as a topping. It is seen as something that can be substituted and taken away. Right? And that's why I'm not too crazy about it. So guys, one little chili for the heat, nicely and beautifully sliced up. Excellent. Let's go ahead and get the rest of my Chinese chives out. Again, not the most traditional use of them, but guess what? I had them in my fridge and I didn't want them to go bad. And so, I think these bad boys sauteed is gonna be really delicious with the sausage itself. Nice and allium-y, nice and sweet. I love Chinese chive and I'm getting more comfortable cooking them as I go. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this bundle. I'm just going to try my best to stack it up, although it's a little bit all over the place. And now we'll just do some nice slices of Chinese chive. We'll do something like this. Not too short, not too long. I love Chinese chive, guys. This is an ingredient that I'm just trying to get more and more comfortable with in recent time. And Chinese chive, you typically see this in a lot of dumplings, but guess what? They're going to cook down. They're going to cook down, they're going to get nice and soft, so it's going to lose a lot of that volume. Okay. Chef, can I describe Chinese chive flavor? I can. When they're cooked, they taste almost like ramps. They have a certain sweetness to them. They have a certain bite to them. They have a really nice, powerful allium-y flavor. Some people describe it as garlicky, but I've never actually felt that garlickiness that people have associated with it. So it's, I guess, a little bit garlicky, but it has like that allium-y pungency. It has a really nice sweetness to it. It is beautiful. I love, love, love Chinese chive to death. And let me just go ahead and get rid of this cup that I have behind me as well. Okay, guys, let's talk about what else I'm going to need for my sauteed sausage and greens. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of garlic sliced up. Typically, I do like a minced garlic clove, but today I'm actually going to be slicing it. I'm going to be slicing it. So Jack, people eat a lot less fish these days. Well, at least I don't eat a lot of fish because I don't feel like I have access to good quality fish. So guys, I'm going to be using my bench scraper just to flatten it, just to be able to press it down, just so that I can then separate the skin from the clove really, really nice and easily. Okay, right? Because then the skin this way just pops off, but I'm not smashing it into oblivion. So here's what you all need to understand about garlic. The more that you crush it, the more that you chop it, the more that you slice it, the stronger and more pungent it actually ends up being. I'm looking for more of a sweeter garlic flavor today. I'm looking for some of the cooked garlic flavor, not just like that really strong pungency. And so, I'm not using my garlic press. Instead, I'm actually just going to be slicing it because I want to be able to bite into some beautiful sauteed garlic. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of all that skin. And guys, again, I'm just using my petty knife, not my petty knife, my paring knife, excuse me. And I'm slicing it up nice and thin. You can use a mandolin, you can use a petty knife. Just having a knife that is sized to the thing that you're cutting makes it a lot easier. Also, Hernando, thank you so much for stopping by. And remember, we stream 3 times a week. Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, 5 p.m. EST, or EDT, I guess now. ET. And slice, 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 all the way through. Okay, beautiful. And these guys, these are all my sliced up garlic cloves. Let's go ahead and just transfer that on over into my little bowl. Okay, so this is going to be almost everything that we need. These are my chilies for the heat. These are my Chinese chives, which are going to be the basis of my sauteed greens, some of my spinach, and some of my garlic as well. So we're going to have something really delicious and really, really flavorful in just a moment. I'm also going to go ahead and just dry off my knife again and make sure that nothing is stuck to it because it is a carbon steel knife that we're using. And really good point, Subs and Soda. The reason why we're doing all the slicing in advance is because when we actually get to the sauteing of everything, it's, you never want to be jumping between the stove and the plate and a stove and a boiler and a stove and a boiler because you risk burning things and it's a lot more stressful. By chopping everything in advance and just having all of that stuff ready to go, it makes it so much easier, it makes it so much more pleasant to actually cook. So everybody, get your prep done in advance. I want to hear a nice yes, chef, from everybody watching. Is that clear? Everybody watching, even if you haven't said anything yet, I want to hear the nice yes, chef. Also, for those of you that haven't already done so, check out my Patreon, !mark Patreon, if you support what we do. I want to keep this free. I want to keep this free to watch. And if you have a little bit of extra pocket change, I want to, I could use a little bit of support to help make it full time. So thank you. Okay, so these are all the greens that I'm going to need. Once again, the pasta is in the oven at the moment. Okay, let's go ahead and think about what else we need to do. I'm going to go ahead and put that away because I have no use for it. Lovely. Okay, guys, let's talk about the chorizo a little bit. And I don't think I'm going to need my cutting board for anything else, so this is going to be the last thing that I'm actually slicing. So I'm only going to use 1 stick of chorizo for today. I'm just going to glove up so I don't have to wash my hands after. Make my life a little bit easier. Full time soon. That is the goal, Mmph. I would love to be able to run this like a cooking show. I want a full budget. I want a full audience, you know. So guys, let's talk about this chorizo. I don't want you to replicate ever what I am doing. The reason I'm making the food that I do is because I have certain ingredients that are available and accessible to me. I want you to go and find the nicest sausage that you can. And whatever would be most reasonable, of course, considering your budget and your price point. So if you're watching this and you think, okay, I'm going to go buy some chorizo from Stop & Shop, stop right there. This chorizo is thick and it's coarsely ground and it's not wet on the inside. A lot of the times, store-bought chorizo is vacuum packed in plastic and it's wet and it just does not get good color. The reason I'm using chorizo is because this is the best locally available sausage to me. So I recommend that you go ahead and invest in the best quality locally available sausage to you. Italian sausage or, Hungarian sausage, whatever it is that you have. And so all I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to cut this up into some nice coins. Nice little coins for my sauteed sausage and greens. And the beauty of using a sausage, guys, is the chorizo. Look how much fat it has. That delicious, incredible chorizo fat is all going to get blended in with all the greens. And it's going to be incredible. And so, Tarina, that's the kind of chorizo that I mentioned. That's the kind that I do not want you to use at all. I don't want you to use like the slabs of chorizo unless it's like freshly made. If it's freshly made or you made it yourself, then that's fine. But the reason I'm using this again is because it's really good. So again, go to a butcher shop, try to find like a grocery store somewhere, that would just carry something really nice. And if you can't, use whatever is just nicest and most available to you in the moment. Okay? And that's what it means to cook at home, guys. What it means to cook at home is not to bend over backwards to find ingredients that are not easily accessible to you. That is not what home cooking is. Home cooking is adapting things to your environment and finding the intersection between affordability, accessibility, time, etc. Okay? Chorizo is pork, Jack chorizo is pork. Okay, we no longer need my cutting board, so I'm going to go ahead and just throw this into my dishwasher as well. This is an Epicurean cutting board, and this form of wood just stands up to a dishwasher exceptionally well. And get rid of my bench scraper, and then using the towel just to be able to nicely and beautifully wipe my station down. The pasta is cooking, and we're about to get done with the sauteed greens. Everybody, do you want to take a look at the pasta? Do you guys want to take a sneak peek at it? I want to hear a nice yes, chef, if you do. It's already been baking for 20 minutes, so we can go ahead and give it a little look-skis if you feel like it is time. Okay, you guys want to see it? I will deliver. I will show you in just a moment. I'm just going to put a couple more things away really quickly while I have a second. I will deliver. I will show you the light. Okay. You ready for this, guys? Let's head to the stove. And don't worry, G-Smack Gaming. We will be removing the lids and letting it brown a little bit on top too. Don't you worry about that. But we do need to make sure that it's covered at least in the beginning stages so that the cheese doesn't overly brown too early on. So guys, let's go ahead and just take out my incredible, beautiful tray. Oh, it smells gorgeous at the moment. I might have singed my fingertips the tiniest bit, but that's okay. My towel was a little bit too thin. Please learn from me and learn from my mistakes. So it's gonna be about 40 minutes to cover it up, and then we'll uncover it and cook it for another 15. So guys, let's go ahead. Ooh, getting a grip on this though is a bit of a difficulty. Ready? Is everybody ready? On to hear the nice yes, chef. And it's gonna go back in still for another 17 minutes or so remaining. Oh, beautiful. It is bubbling away on the inside. The pasta looks gorgeous. That's what I'm talking about. Let me just poke at it a little bit and just see what it looks like all the way down inside. That's all that like melted provolone on top. Beautiful. Actually, excellent, I have to say. Wow. I'm not gonna mess with it too much. I wanna just go ahead and put it back inside. Guys, that pasta, it's going to be incredible. I'm really, really excited. And yeah, these are like little terracotta pots. That's what I have. The lids though, the lids are really difficult to remove because it's like a very like short handle on it. And so I have to be quite quick before I burn myself. Let's go ahead and just get that back inside of the oven. I have not watched the end of Evangelion. I was thinking about going with somebody to the movies, but guys, I have not had a day off in 2 weeks. I have been doing the cooking streams. I've been working my cooking teaching job for like the last 2 weeks, every single day. So I finally have a day off this Monday, so maybe I'll do that. This is a terracotta pot from the USSR. My family is Russian. Russian was my first language. I grew up in South Brooklyn. But these are little like clay pots from the USSR. They're really, really cool. Yeah, they're a little bit retro. They're a little bit awesome. And I just like using them whenever I have an excuse to. And I'm just gonna go ahead and throw all of that back inside the oven, guys. And it's gonna need about 16 more minutes. Ooh. Okay. Guys, I believe it is time for us to begin doing the sauteed greens. We have plenty of time to do so. Let's go ahead and get all of that started. So guys, I have a nice big sauteed pan. And so we need to think about the order of operations for this. We need to think about the order of operations, and let me tell you why. The first step is going to be getting some of that beautiful chorizo fat. We have a lot of gorgeous chorizo fat, and so we need a little bit of olive oil to help get the chorizo started, but we're going to melt out the chorizo fat, and the rest of the vegetables are going to cook in said chorizo fat, and it is going to be incredible. And that is the beauty of using something like a sausage. Now, let's say you don't have access to a good sausage. You know what you can do instead? You can get some bacon, you can get some guanciale, you can get some pancetta. You want just like a very nice fatty piece of meat. In my case, I'm using my good quality chorizo here. And so, any chance I can get, I want to cook with animal fat. So, we're starting this off on a nice medium heat, and I'm going in with a nice little drizzle of olive oil. A little bit to get it started, just that much. And the rest of the fat is actually just going to come from the chorizo itself. And everybody, here's a golden rule. I want everybody to tap in. I want to make sure that everybody is listening. Okay? When you are trying to render the fat, when you're trying to melt the fat out of something to then cook with it, you never start off on a high heat. We're only going to be heating this pan up slowly on a medium flame. If you heat it up too high, you're going to end up burning the outside of the sausage before the inside actually melts away all of its beautiful fat. So the timing of everything is key. It is absolutely essential, okay? It is super, super important. So we heat up the olive oil, we add the sausage in, and then we let it slowly cook. We let the sausage cook, we let it melt out its fat, and then we throw in the greens into all of that beautiful chorizo fat. Then we add in the chilies, and then we add the garlic in last. The reason why we add the garlic in last is because if we added it any sooner, the garlic would end up burning. Because of how much sugar it has, garlic ends up burning a lot easier than other things. The only thing that I did neglect to do, I wanted to go ahead and get the juice of half a lemon. So let me go ahead and get that sorted out for us. Really quickly, guys. I wanted some nice acidity, and lemon juice would be a lovely, lovely way to get some. And so, I love using my citrus press. I think everybody should invest in a nice citrus press. And the reason is because it's a lot more efficient than if you were to manually juice something by hand. Guys, number one mistake. I know this looks like the way it's supposed to go, but it's supposed to be flesh side down. Flesh side down, and you'll be able to get a nice good juice out of it, okay? And this is a tabletop one. This is the KitchenAid tabletop citrus juicer. The reason why I like it is because I don't have to do this in my hands. I can just set it down flat, and then I'm able to go ahead and get a nice, big, generous press, guys. Please, I'm telling you, your life will change if you invest in one. Okay, and let's just squeeze a little bit harder. Beautiful. And that's about half a lemon's worth of juice. This isn't a very juicy lemon today, so I'm going to do the whole lemon instead. And let's put it back in. Is everybody still watching? Is everybody still listening? And I should have been holding it with two hands, and that wouldn't have happened. Lemon juice. Lovely. Half of it on the table. And we're fine. I'll just wipe all of it off and it'll be okay. I also don't like hand juicing lemons, guys, because all of the lemon juice gets on my hands and I have eczema. So it's very, very unpleasant. Okay. I'm going to wipe that off in a second. In the meantime, guys, we do have to head back to the stove. The olive oil, we don't want it to be like smoking hot or anything. Again, we just want a nice medium hot pan here, okay? Medium hot pan, and in goes all of my beautiful chorizo. Again, I don't want you to ever replicate exactly the quote-unquote recipes that I'm doing. I'm showing you technique. And so, what I would instead recommend and implore you to do would be to go ahead and get the nicest fatty cut of meat that you can. Bacon, pork belly, chorizo, another kind of sausage, anything that you can possibly get. And guys, medium heat is the key to this, because we need to slowly cook out the fat before we develop color on the outside. If you do too high of a heat right now, what's going to happen is you're going to scorch the outside of it before the inside of the sausage is actually done. Okay? So the chorizo is going, and then you're going to see the pan be flooded with all of that beautiful chorizo fat in just a second. And this dish, guys, this dish is going to come together really, really quickly. This dish is going to come together really, really easily. It's just going to be a lovely treat for us today. And all in the meantime, I'm just going to be going ahead and putting some other stuff into the fridge. Wouldn't starting in a cold pan be better to render out fat? So, snap cap, the reason I don't do that is because that actually tends to make the meat stick. You start it off in a completely cold pan, and I find that it makes it it does make it a little bit too sticky. If you had a tin-lined pan or a non-stick pan, then I feel like you can do that. But if that's not the case, then you're not really able to do so well. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just grab my tongs, guys. We're lowering the heat, and I'm gonna go ahead and give these bad boys a little flip. And you can already see the oil start to turn a very nice, pleasant shade of orange. And we're just going to flip it right now. We're going to leave it mostly undisturbed, and then it's going to continue to render out all of that beautiful fat. There you go. And it's going, guys. Oh, look at it, right? All of that orange, delicious fat. That's all of it from like the spices that are naturally present inside of the chorizo itself. All of that pork fat. It's going to be incredible. Okay. And I'm just putting a couple things away as I'm going. And I flip them individually just to make sure that I'm really getting like every single side properly cooked before we move on to like a full sauteing motion. Does anybody have any questions about this process so far? Any questions, any comments, any concerns? Remember, I am here to teach you, that's right, I'm talking about you, how to cook. If we use pre-ground spices to cook, paprika or curry, what should we look for if we buy them? Jack, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, most ground paprikas are the same. The only difference is you're looking if you want like a smoked paprika, if you want a spicy paprika, or you just want a basic paprika. Otherwise, I would not recommend even buying curry powder. I'm not very good with giving advice on that. The only thing is, at least in a Western supermarket, our spices are way too expensive in Western supermarkets. Also, Yolanda, it was lovely to have you. We're gonna be streaming this Friday 5 p.m. and Sunday 5 p.m. So, at least in the United States, my general recommendation is to go into like an Indian grocery store, or like a South Asian grocery store and buying your spices from there, because typically it's a lot cheaper and there you can get whole spices. The last thing I recommend is going to big supermarkets and buying spices from them. Chef, have you ever had ramps/allium trichocum? I sure have. I have had ramps quite a few times in Ippurusu. But we're using, we're using the chives, the Chinese chives, which are really similar to that of ramps. So guys, come take a look. We're cooking this nice and low and slow on a nice medium heat. At this point, we don't even have to individually flip it anymore. We can just go ahead and give the whole thing a nice generous toss, right? And now we can begin to turn up the heat. Look at the pan, guys. It is absolutely filled with all of that beautiful chorizo oil. And this is going to be the basis for all of our sauteed greens, okay? So let's just go ahead and take it, and we're going to move it around a little bit. We're going to make sure that it's all nice and flat, okay? And you're scraping up the bottom if there's anything seemingly stuck on it. And now, guys, we've rendered out the fat. Let's get some color, because when we brown the chorizo, that's how we get some of like the deeper flavors out of it, okay? Beautiful, isn't it? It's going to be really, really delicious. It's just going to be a really simple side/main dish. It's going to take absolutely no time to come together, okay? And we're getting all that delicious chorizo fat. So now it's getting that color. Now it's really, truly starting to build all of it up. That's what I'm talking about. And we do want to make sure that the chorizo is not fully cooked through, because we're going to be adding everything into the same pan. We're not going to be taking the chorizo out and then putting in the vegetables. And so just before the chorizo is done, now is the stage where I go in with the Chinese chive. And the chorizo is going to continue to brown. I just don't want it to overcook and become dry. So Chinese chive going in, as well as my cut up spinach, with a nice big hit of salt, guys. Nice, big, generous punch of salt all the way through. Getting everything nice and beautifully seasoned. And let's mix it all around. My chives, my spinach, my chorizo. Excellent. All of it is just coming together now. And this, guys, this takes absolutely no time for it to all to come together. Okay? And now let's go ahead and do the chilies. Let's do all of the chilies inside. And again, we don't add the chilies in the beginning because otherwise they would just scorch. So that's why we add it later on. Okay. Look at this. Beautiful. Just takes a few moments, guys. And we're just getting the chilies a little bit softened. We're making sure that it's not completely raw. We're getting the heat nicely and evenly distributed throughout everything. Okay. Really, really simple dish. I've never made this before, right? This is just something I came up with on the fly as like a nice way to use up some existing ingredients I have. So all of those chives, all the chili, all the chorizo. I just dropped a coin of chorizo on the floor, which was, wait, where the hell did it go? What happened? Did the chorizo roll under the oven? Guys, I think I had to think of chorizo roll under the oven. That's a little bit tragic. I'm stirring this a little too aggressively at the moment. Okay. Gorgeous. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get some of the garlic in. Let's get the sliced garlic inside, guys. And again, the garlic is the last addition because the garlic is the one that can burn the easiest. And so now the goal, we're just going to get the garlic a little bit sauteed. We're just going to get it to all come together. And then we'll finish it with the lemon juice. Just give it a moment, guys. Just let the garlic soften up. Let the garlic cook all the way through. And guys, wasn't that easy? Wasn't that really, really easy? Yeah. I do not have a cat, Jack. I do not. No, I'm allergic. And I also don't love pets that much, I'm afraid to say. Nice medium-high heat. We're just getting the garlic cooked through. We're stirring it really, really often. Whew. Guys, today's been a lot of work, hasn't it? We're doing a lot of sauteing. We're doing a lot of mixing. We're doing a lot of whisking. And this is a really, really beautiful side dish though. It's really nice and easy. We have the sweetness from the Chinese chive. We have the freshness of the spinach. We have the punch from the garlic. We have the heat from the chili. We have that meatiness from that beautiful, luscious chorizo. And then we're about to finish it all with a nice big hit of lemon juice. So let's go ahead and shut it off the heat. Take off the heat and lemon juice just going inside. And we're using the lemon juice to basically deglaze the pan, guys. Nice and easy. Scrape up anything that's stuck to the bottom. And that's it. That's all that we needed to do. Really, really simple, really, really easy, really, really delicious. And the lemon juice is almost building a sauce for us as it's reduced. And that's it. That's all that it is, guys. Wasn't that easy? Let's go ahead and just get that into a bowl. So just, boop. Take it off the heat, put it into the bowl, and that'll be okay. And so, the reason why I'm doing this again is because I had Chinese chives that I wanted to get rid of. And so I'm experimenting with a bunch of different ways to actually effectively use them up. And I think sauteing it like this would be really, really delicious. What do you guys think? You guys think it's going to be good? I have no idea how this is going to come out. We're just going to end up tasting it and then we'll make a little decision. Yeah, all that beautiful chorizo fat, all the flavor from the chilies. Excellent, just scooping all of it out. Nice. Really nice way of using up a bunch of greens. I don't normally make stuff like this that often. It does just take like a little bit of active work. But guys, as you saw, I mean, that just really came together in just a second. And also, by the way, the pasta has officially been baking for 40 minutes, guys. So yeah, this is the chorizo. Beautiful. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and have a little taste of this. You know what? We'll do the pasta first. Everybody, are you ready to go ahead and take a look at the pasta? The pasta, it's gonna come out of the oven and we're gonna take the lid off and then we're gonna go ahead and put it back in. I wanna hear a nice yes, chef, from everybody watching right now. Please and thank you. Let's go to the stove. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and open up my lovely oven. Okay, and let's go ahead and pull out my sheet tray. Come on, buddy, come back here, thank you. Oh, lovely. That's all set, that's all ready to go. And now guys, let's go ahead and let's pull those lids off. We're gonna pull the lids off and we're going to basically let it bake for a little bit just by itself. But oh, guys, look at that. Look at that. Incredible. That, oh, this one's tightly shut. Uh-oh. This one doesn't want to come off. I might have gone like the little bit dirty. This one, guys, oh no. That lid is completely stuck. It's because we didn't open it earlier and I think I just ended up getting some cheese on the sides of it. What do we do? Wait, what the heck? How do we salvage that? Uh-oh. It has been sealed. It has actually, truly been sealed. Okay, so we have a slight opening in here that we could take. Oh, there you go. Now that's opening. That's it, guys. Okay, there she is. Did I break it a little bit? No. Oh, no, I think it was already cracked. Okay, sweet. It was not. That was not a new one. Guys, this is my pasta. Doesn't she look amazing? Doesn't she look beautiful? It's gonna go back into the oven for like another 10 to 15 minutes or so until the top of it is nice and browned. It's gonna go on the top element of the oven. This is purely now for color, for a little bit of that crispiness. Look at that thing. Look at that beautiful pasta. Let's go ahead and get it back in, guys, into the oven one last time. Okay. Oof, my towel's getting a little hot, so let's move fast. Ah, can't put it up there. I'm gonna have to put it back down here again. And into the oven, guys, it goes for yet another 10 minutes. Oof. A lot of heavy lifting. A lot of work today. Guys, we have done so much. We have done so much. We've accomplished so much today. So guys, let's do a quick little recap session. In the oven, in the last final 10 minutes of cook time, is my beautiful baked pasta. The rigatoni, we used the serious eat soaking method. We soaked it in hot water. We made a bechamel using butter, flour, milk, nutmeg, parmesan. Then we made a parmesan cream using some of the bechamel and using some freshly blanched spinach. We then assembled the pasta with some Chinese chive, with the blanched spinach, with the spinach cream, with blocks of provolone cheese and slices of beautiful provolone, as well as some parmesan. And now guys, we've also prepared it as a quick little meat dish. To use up the last of my Chinese chive, I have this quick little sauteed chorizo, Chinese chive, spinach, garlic, and chili. So let's go ahead and let's just give that a little taste. It's my first time making something like this. I mean, I just know it's gonna be good because it's just like sauteed sausage and, you know, all these other things. But let's go ahead and give this a little taste. All right. Nice and acidic from the lemon juice, just really punches you right from the get-go. It's got the heat from the chilies that you want. It's got this delicious juicy chorizo. Guys, make little sautés like this. If you ever want to know how to use up a bunch of greens, just throw it into a pan with some sausage. That took no time at all, that took no prep, and that is objectively delicious. This is the kind of a thing that you get at a restaurant. It's easy, it's quick, it's a nice way of getting a lot of greens cooked down and ready to go. And so, this as an experiment for me was completely successful, which is, you know, I wanted to see if I can cook Chinese chives in this way. Chef, what would be my favorite animal to have if I could? A scorpion. Mmph asked me. I think I would do a scorpion because I really like scorpions. But otherwise, I'm not that crazy about animals. Pokemon, on the other hand, absolutely. But real animals, not really my thing like that. Not that much, at least. Or like a koala. I do rock with koalas pretty hard. But again, not that much, not enough for me to desperately want to do that with my life. I don't love animals that much. Okay, guys, we just have a few more minutes. So this would be a really good time to ask me any more questions. And then I'm going to pull out the rest of the pasta and then we're going to plate it and have a nice little portion. Are you guys excited? Are you guys excited for this? I'm pretty excited about this. Chef, have I ever had those colossal Chinese scallions? I sure have. Yeah, they're delicious. They're lovely. By the way, I appreciate all the support that we had today. So many of you guys like pulled through. I have a question. Who's like first time? Wait. Who here is watching the show? Who here is on the stream for the first time? I'm just curious. I'm curious who is new. Because I know we have a lot of people come in. I know we've had like a lot of new people come in as well. Okay, a couple people. Nice. Duolingo, it's your first time? I see. Okay. I'm just curious. I just want to get like a nice little poll. I wanted to get a nice little net. But yeah, we do streams every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, right? Second time for a second raid. I see. Yeah, the Vosh keeps raiding us. We just keep getting all the Voshites. Okay, I'm just gonna keep continuing to throw things into the dishwasher while we have a moment of availability. We have a second to do so. And again, if you have any and all cooking questions, it will always be appreciated. Because I'm here to help you. That's right, you specifically. I'm here to help you learn what it means to cook at home. Okay, and let's get rid of that dish. And let's get rid of this. Lovely. Have I ever cooked bugs? I have not. I have not cooked bugs, and I don't have much interest in doing so. Sorry. Oof. Oh, guys, I'm really excited for the pasta. I really want to be able to dig into it, but we still have to wait. We still must be patient. We have to be patient. We have to pull through. And I'm really excited to see how all of it just comes out at the end. Okay. 6 more minutes, guys. Do you think you can be patient? 6 more minutes. Can we do it? I want to hear a nice yes, chef, if you think you can be patient. I'm really excited to get into it. Okay, I guess shrimps are bugs, right? You are correct in that, son of Ra. Yeah. So I believe I have. But otherwise, I just don't have much interest in eating bugs themselves. Okay, chef, but can you be patient? Taza, the answer is not so much, because I really want to be able to dig into this. I really would like to be able to eat the pasta, because I know it's going to be good. I know this pasta is going to be amazing. I just know that is an objective fact. Just continuing to look behind me and see what can I get rid of, what can I go ahead and put away. No longer need my garlic press either. Let's go ahead and put that away as well. So I can be somewhat patient, I think. Have I ever done lacto fermentation? So really good question, Snapgab. I have not. I did once when I was 13, but I just don't think I'm in a position to be doing a lot of lacto fermentation projects right now. It is something I would love to be able to get a little bit more into. I just have access to a lot of really good lacto fermented goods near me. I live in an Eastern European neighborhood. We have a lot of like cold bars. So we have like fermented pickles, and we have fermented tomatoes, and we have fermented peppers. We have fermented olives, all different kinds that you could possibly imagine. But at some point I would love to be able to go deeper into lacto fermentation, especially with koji, especially with chilies. And to be able to do something like a hot sauce at some point, that'd also be really fun. I just don't feel, I'm doing so much as it is. So it seems like a really big project. It seems like a lot at the moment. Okay, I'm just continuing to clean up, looking for little scraps of food that I may have neglected to throw away, counters to wipe off, that kind of thing, guys. Okay, staying nice and organized, staying nice and clean. What's behind me? Is that my knife? I see. Okay. And let's go ahead and get ready our plate for today as well. So let's just go on over to this, and we're gonna do this on a nice little plate, just like so. Is Sprigatito a good Pokemon? I think Sprigatito is okay. I'm a little indifferent. And now I'm also going to get some Parmesan cheese, guys, because I would also love some Parmesan as a really nice garnish on top, and we're going to just make it really snow on top. And it's gonna be great. And my little cheese grater, my little microplane is also ready to go as needed. Okay, guys, just a few more minutes and then we'll be ready to go and we'll be ready to eat. 3 more minutes if you can wait that long. I'm the one that can't wait that long, actually. I'm the one that's impatient. And that's why I'm keeping myself as busy as possible. You have 3 more minutes to basically ask me any and all cooking questions that you may have. It can be about anything. It doesn't just have to be about this dish. Because guess what? I am here to teach you how to cook and what it means to cook at home. And so I want to help. I've been cooking for a very long time, and I want to be able to impart the things that I know. Okay, 2 more minutes, guys. And then it will be time for us to dig in. Ideally, we would let the pasta actually sit a little bit for a few minutes, but I don't think we'll be doing any of that today. I just want to be able to dig right into it. Okay, wait, actually, I did not answer that question. Darby, could you repeat the question, please? How much do I have to donate, Chef, for you to cook it at Chef's Hat as tall as Zeph's? Asks Serena. Oh man, what would I? That's a lovely question. We'll talk about it, Serena. We'll figure something out. 25, no, maybe like a solid $80, and then I'll do it. Okay, so you desperately need cooking tips for ADHD, asks Darby Doll. So one really huge thing is just making sure that you're doing all of your prep in advance. The worst thing that you could be possibly doing is juggling, chopping something, going to the stove, chopping something, going to the stove. Getting all of your prep done, getting your mise en place done in advance is really, really important. Keeping yourself stimulated long enough is also pretty important. Yeah, I don't know, about like keeping focus and actually keeping enough focus to continue to do something. Ooh, I mean, putting on music. Putting on music is a very nice way to get yourself at least stimulated auditorily. That does help quite a bit. So like when I do cook for myself, it's pretty huge. Starting is the hard part for you, Darby Doll. I don't know, I don't feel like I'm entirely qualified to give others advice that's not entirely my own. I'm not sure, like, I don't feel like I know enough about you to give you directly advice, right? Could I make a compote out of chalubi? Great question. Yes, I can, Nipugasu. Okay, guys, it's time to go ahead and take the pasta out. It is time Let me go ahead and pull it out of the oven. And I can hear the Pokemon lo-fi. I hear it the whole time as it's going. Okay, hi. So, let's go ahead and take the pasta out, and then I'm going to show it to you for the last possible reveal, for the last unveiling of it. Oh, guys, let me tell you right now, that looks really special. That looks incredible. Wow. You guys can't see it yet, but you will in just a second. Oh, that is one of the nicest looking dishes I've ever done on the stream, and we've had a couple of really beautiful ones. Everybody, chat, tap in. Take a look. Look at that thing. Look at it. Bubbling, crispy, on the top. Oh, guys, this is my baked rigatoni. This is it. This is her. She has finally arrived. Crispy on the top, bubbling away, gorgeous. This is exactly what I'm talking about. What we've been waiting for, everybody. That is her. Oh, let's get not the dirty pan. We don't want this guy. We have no use for this. Let's put him away. We don't want him. But we just want this instead. Everybody. Now, ideally, if you're cooking this at home, I would like you to wait a little bit because it's bubbling and it's really, really hot. So I would want you to wait before digging into it. It would be better. But for the sake of the stream, for the sake of the audience, for my own logistical reasons, I must go in there myself. And guys, I'm going to be cutting out. I'm going to be holding this down nice and tight. Cutting out a nice, large portion of this beauty. Okay? And let's see, can I successfully actually scoop this out? The answer is not really. It's clinging into the pot itself. It is stuck inside. Step pasta, I'm stuck. Sorry, that's enough. That's done. There she is. Beautiful. And let's do a little bit more for my portion, because I want some more. Okay. There it is, guys. Beautiful. That sauce is already incredible. That is so rich. That is so delicious. Everybody, final touch. Final touch. This is my pasta. When it's come out now, when it's come out of its lovely little shell, let's do the final touch, which is just going to be a nice, proper grating of some Parmesan on top. And now, let's go ahead and just get a couple of grains of black pepper, very Italian-American style, very Olive Garden style, right? A couple of grains of fresh black pepper right on top. And everybody, that is my baked pasta. That is my baked spinach pasta, full of greens, full of love. Let's talk about everything that went into it. We soaked some rigatoni. We soaked some of it in some hot water. Then we made an incredible bechamel, using some milk, using some butter, using some flour. And then we added some nutmeg, we added some Parmesan to make it a bechamel, and we added some seasonings. Okay. Then we made it into a spinach cream by blending it down with some spinach. We saved some of the spinach leaves. We stacked it up, we layered it up, okay, with the spinach, with blocks of Parmesan, with slices of Parmesan in between the layers as well, with plenty of Parmesan cheese as well. Well, slices of provolone, excuse me. Slices and blocks of provolone, and a big grating of Parmesan. Nice big leaves of spinach, some Chinese chive inside. All of it coming together, cheesy and melted and delicious. Guys, let's go ahead and have a bite. Also, Jack, I'd prefer if not. Well, Jack, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. Let's have a bite. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. So, you know, I had some water. So, I had a sip. I'll have some more just for you. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Okay, I will hydrate. Once again, this is one of the best dishes I've made on stream. Guys, the baked pastas They will always be a highlight of the show. That is creamy and delicious. Texture is amazing. That has so much flavor in it, guys. This is just that good. This is genuinely one of the best things I've made. This is so good. This is amazing. Simple, cheap ingredients. Pasta, milk, butter, flour, spinach, and then some cheese, of course, but this is simple food, guys. This is simple, it's easy, and it's delicious above all else. The hardest part was the bechamel. And you mix it all together and you throw it up, you just throw it inside of the oven. Oh my goodness. I am going to go ahead and just cover these bad boys with the lid because I don't want them to get cold. My mom's gonna come home and I'm excited for her to actually try some of that. Everybody, that was our dish. That was our meal for today. I hope you all enjoyed the stream. I hope you all enjoyed the show for today. Everybody, next stream is going to be this Friday, 5 p.m. ET. Thank you for being here. If you're new, if you haven't already done so, a sub is always appreciated. But if you can and you have the financial ability to do so, please check out the Patreon. You can type in !Patreon or just scroll down and go into the About section. I want to be able to do this full time. I want to be able to teach you all what it means to really, truly cook at home. Thank you all for being here. And now, we're going to go ahead and find somebody on Twitch for us to raid today because we have a nice big audience today, right? I see that T is live. We'll probably go on over to, let's do another lovely cooking streamer friend of mine. We'll do Eat at Dad's. How's that sound? Everybody, once again, thank you all for being here. Appreciate every single last one of you. Next stream is going to be this upcoming Friday, 5 p.m. ET. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go ahead and just start that raid. Let's get that going. /raid. Eat at Dad's. Alright, everybody. Once again, this Friday, 5 p.m. ET. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for supporting. If you're new, check out the Discord. Check out everything. You know what to do. I appreciate every single one of you. And yeah, I'll see you all really soon.